Can you hear me now? Okay, that was weird. That was weird. Can you guys hear me now? Hi. Okay, for some reason, it was like my microphone wasn't on, but it was. Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay. Very weird. I don't know why. The alien hoax is shocking. Yes. So, hi chat, welcome in. Today we are researching because I want to make a video on this. Okay. I'm using you guys as research time. So we've got the Apothecary Diaries journal. We're gonna watch some videos. Okay. Because for those of you that don't know, okay, this came onto my feed. I saw other people talking about this first. Okay. So basically, what I saw was people talking about this and being like, ooh, I don't want to upload a video on TikTok. No, leave me alone. Was people, sorry, I've got messages. Who are you? Can you stop talking, please, respectfully? Thank you. Thank you, Chelsea. Okay. Turned off and on again. Yeah, no, it wasn't on though. That was the issue. I was unplugging. I unplugged my mic mixer. I unplugged my mic. Even here, it's not showing up on my mixer. Do I sound okay? Or do I sound weird? Do I sound weird to y'all? Because like the audio is not reading on the mixer, which is always very weird. Do I sound normal to y'all or do I sound weird? Sounds fine to you? Okay. Should be fine then. I stopped filming my regular videos, chat, for Swell Entertainment with this mic because it acts up too much. So should be fine for now. It's just not reading on the audio mixer like for the volume levels, so I don't know if I'm maxing out enough, but it's showing up on OBS, so I should be fine. But anyways, hi. So my understanding is a couple of weeks ago, a guy posted a video of him finding a meteorite in an on-fire hole. The first video I saw, that thing looked like a spray-painted potato. That looked like a spray-painted potato, okay? However, he then started documenting and uploading videos of it growing and seemingly to mutate until something came out of it. The first video I saw of his was him, without people talking about it, like the one that came up on my feed, was he went to visit his house with a cooler, and it was, he went to go visit his house with a cooler, okay? And he like opened up a safe. He kept the thing in a safe and it was like a pulsing, gooey looking thing. Like I don't know how to describe it. Alien looking thing. So if this is a hoax, it's a really detailed hoax, you know? So I figured we would go through this and I'm going to duel this, chat. We're going to do it on the screen and on here and on my phone so I can download any videos because apparently his videos are in Spanish. I do not speak Spanish, chat, but some people in the comment sections are saying that he has said that he has contacted NASA and they are not listening. But because this thing continues to grow and continues to mutate, people are now like calling the feds on this guy and being like, you need to do something, which we're past that shit, guys. We need to see what this thing becomes now. The feds aren't going to do anything. It looks like he brought venom onto the planet. So hang on. Let me go. I think I bookmarked it. So let me go to this first. Let me see. Favorites. Did I bookmark you? I swear I bookmarked you. Did I not? Oh, here's this is the first video, okay, that I saw. This is from yesterday, I would say, but we'll see. Hang on. We're talking about a possible alien / possible hoax. I am team hoax, but I think this is a very, very well done hoax if it's a hoax. Thank you for following Liz. I think this is a very well done hoax if it's a hoax, okay? So we're just going to look at this thing and go from there. So this is probably one of the first videos that I saw, chat. So let me just get everything all hooked up here. Hold on, everyone. YouTube viewers, welcome in. You guys are gonna learn very quickly. I have this super fun thing that we call scuff. Oh wait, we're on the wrong page. I'm like, where's the thing? We joke that this stream is not swell entertainment, it's scuff entertainment. We are scuffed. So, there will be times where things are a little slow, a little delayed. Just communicate in chat. You know how it is. Okay. Am I on the right? Nope, I'm not. Sorry, hold on. There we go. Okay, I was like, I need the right. I was like, that screenshot's not correct. Okay. This, because you guys can't see your screen name, is ENJ Castle. Hold on. Sometimes we do research on stream. Not always, but this one I feel like is big enough where I'm like, first. I don't think this was the first. This may have been one of the first videos I saw, but I saw hers and hers was like reasonably upset. Yes, this is the meteor thing. Okay.
So everybody has been telling me to go back, rewatch some of these videos so I could get a better idea of the eye, right? I see what y'all are talking about. I think I'm thinking of it too categorically as like our own eyes, and it looks like a camera flash, like a camera flare, like the shiny parts of, I don't know. It doesn't quite look like an eye to me, but I see what y'all are saying, okay? Number two, for the people that are saying that this is a hoax, bro, listen. If you look in some of the newer videos, under the feet of this thing, it's all rusted. It's rusted. I thought it was like from the gold coin, because remember there's a gold coin in there to show scale, right? No, the gold coin is off to the side, no rust under it. Just under the feet of this
I don't
thing,
think the military, U.S. military did this one.
Moisture, but it's not taking
Let's go.
in.
Hi.
It's just doing everything on its own. It needs no help for survival. Somebody was like, yeah, well, if...
Okay, when I first saw the video of the, like some of the videos I saw was like, cause someone did like a time lapse of how much the thing has grown. When it was first growing out of the potato, I was like, this looks like just like a rotted potato. Like, I don't think this is an alien being. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen a rotted potato that has tubers, but like the you know, the sprouts growing out or the tubers growing out of the potato, as it's rotting, they can still try and grow even though it's rotting. And I was like, okay, maybe this could be that. It's a tadpole flopping around. It's the video that I saw of his first. Okay, so we'll hang on. Let me go to Kin Panama. Hold on. Let me find. I need his videos. Yeah, Kin Panama. Give me his page. Did they delete his page? Did they delete his page already? There's no fucking way.
And some new updates on the parasitic
So
alien symbiotes that landed on Earth in Panama and started growing out of a meteorite. It's now being reported the man who discovered it has been going viral and has now been evicted from his house, with him saying it was because he was putting others at...
I need to find, did he delete his account? No, here it is. This guy, okay, Kin Panama, apparently. And here's how it's growing. So let me see. I'm going to go back to all of his old videos, because I remember I saw one where I was like, I think he might just be, I'm going all the way back because I want to see his earliest videos, if there's been ever anything else. Thank you for following. I just want to see if there's any other red flag content. So his first post is from 2022. Okay. Hang on. Okay. And just like very normal stuff. And then there's got to be, okay, there's one potato. Where did the first potatoes start? I guess. Thank you for following.
Estas llantas viejas y abandonadas
This is a repost.
parecen inofensivas, pero en realidad son un peligro para nuestra salud cuando acumulan agua de lluvia.
Y salió.
I don't know, it might be animation. We'll get there, chat. I'll show you. Doggy. Suppression. And hate speech, apparently. Actual doggy.
Es que yo vi en Instagram que aquí
I'm just seeing if there's any other red flags in any of the prior videos you guys chat. You know what I'm saying?
Yo juraba que eso era un lagarto, porque le vi como unas rayas. Pareció como la sombra de un lagarto. Y hay un lagarto.
Hello, welcome in. YouTubers, if YouTube chat, if you're just joining us, your chat will not show up on screen here because, or over here, I should say, as you can see it on screen. That's the Twitch chat. It doesn't show up for you guys. Your chat does not show up because that's done via Twitch. So apologies that you guys are not showing up on screen.
A trepar.
I just want to see if it's...
Y ahí en la sombra, yo estoy viendo que hay un lagarto
Hi, YouTube.
escondido, pero yo veo las rayas de la espalda. Yo no sé si ustedes las ven. ¡Ay! Ahí salió. ¡Ah! Mi perro. Él sabe que donde mi...
Okay.
Aquí se pesca rapidito la tilapia. Me tiro el anzuelo y la...
All right. That's a potato.
A nuestro...
Okay, so I guess 829 is the first video potato sighting. First potato sighting. That's okay, so I don't have a simp Twitch account yet. You're fine. First potato sighting. August 29th. That's definitely a potato. And it says, let's see the translation here. You guys can't see it because my face is blocking it, but the translation up here is meteorite that fell in Panama Pedregal. Soon samples will be taken to the International University. Hang on, claims it fell in Panama. Hang on. Are his downloads on? I don't think download works. Yeah, download doesn't work on here. Hang on. I'm on desktop.
You're putting everyone who's
I want to see if his downloads are on mobile chat. 1 second. Okay, they are. As we go through, I'm going to download everything because I want copies. Okay. Comment section, that's 100% a potato. A space potato, maybe. When was the first video of this taken? Because I'm just now finding out about this. Dude put the video parts in chronological order. They're completely out of sequence. It's driving me nuts. That's not a potato. Can y'all hear it knocking on the glass when it's rocking? LOL, potatoes don't do that. Okay. Save them before the government silences him. Yeah, at the very least, I want record of this shit. Snaptic.app without the space, of course. Oh, no, I was able to download it fine. I just don't want to do it on desktop. It does look, it could be a petrified potato, which is possible, chat, where this may have been a potato now, but it's now just almost become some form of mummified to some capacity. This would be a good Alien Earth ARG. Oh, just wait. It gets worse. Oh, wait. Hang on. He commented here. No entiendo por qué dicen que es una papa si es de mental. I shall copy. One moment. Spanish to English. We're just going to get everything. Boop, paste. I don't understand why they say it's a potato if it's made of metal. I don't know the elements. Hang on. Let me screenshot so I have a copy. Okay. I mean, it does look slightly more dried out. Like there's dirt here. Like this could be something that someone left somewhere. Let's see. If the leaves caught fire, why doesn't the stick? He's claiming that it was found in a fireball, like a fire hole or something, but there's no video of him finding it, I don't think. It does sound like it's
testigo de este hallazgo.
Do you guys hear that?
Están siendo
Chat, I don't know if you can see it. I'm looking at it. Oh, okay, wait, is he getting me? Is he getting me? Wait. Because looking at it from this angle, forget this bit here. Forget this. This does not look as it should. If it was like a petrified potato, let's say that. Also, the fact that that's a glass plate or a bowl, I believe it's on, that he's poking with some form of stick. Looks like a chopstick or something. It is making. I think at the very least, it's a something that was forged at one point. I don't know where he found it. He's saying he found it in Panama. He said he found it in a hole. It could have been something that was an artifact that then just like basically hit a melting point and then hardened into this weird potato-like blob. Hypothetically, chunk of quartz shaped like a potato. I don't know if it could just be a rock. He's claiming it's metal. It also could be like a literal piece of like an artifact from, you know, an old piece of metal that just melted into like this weird blob. Could also be that. Like, I agree with his statement that it could be more. I do think this is more metal than rock. So potentially more metal than meteorite. You know what I'm saying? It looks like a toad butt. The closest kind of meteorite that it resembles to me would be one of those chunks of iron floating around the solar system. They undergo some level of melting during atmospheric entry. Okay. Would it still be this much intact, or would there be more fracturing? Because this is fairly smooth for it to have been, and fairly small for it to have ended up on Earth in this size at this state. You know what I'm saying? Dianosaur, you subscribed with Prime. You won the Swell Grand Prix with the Prime boost. Thank you for subscribing and supporting Swell's Speedy Science September. This could be science and or spooky September activities that we're currently doing, but welcome in again. All right, iron pretty dense. It's a kind of small piece also. Yeah. Okay, let me keep going.
testigo de esta.
Also, if anyone in chat speaks Spanish, if you guys understand what he's saying at any point, feel free to put it in chat, either YouTube or Twitch. It doesn't matter, because I just have to guess.
Hallazgo aquí en Panamá.
It does seem very dense because it's on this glass plate and it's making clinking sounds.
Me han recomendado no.
Why do you have this, bro? What is your job? What is your job? Because none of the other videos that I saw referenced, unless he just got this. Unless he like overnighted, why suddenly has, thank you, suddenly has a, suddenly has a microscope. The gloves are smart. Microscope is interesting. Gardening gloves. Those are kitchen gloves, 100%. Those are definitely like dishwashing gloves, chat. I'm talking about the fact that he has a microscope all of a sudden. Best since dialect changes things. Makes sense. I speak a little Spanish, but we'll see. Okay, cool. Y'all, you speak more Spanish than I do. Hola. Okay. Suddenly is a microscope. My notes are deranged looking already. Also, my handwriting is atrocious, so you guys don't get to see these notes. Yeah, but why? What was he thinking he was gonna do?
No tocar aquí en una universidad.
See, that's potato looking.
La Universidad Internacional. Próximo a venir a Panamá a retirarse muestras de.
Why does this size of this hole look very similar to that shape? Just pointing it out. Just want to make the note. Because that diameter looks like it could be very similar to that divot right there. He's lying around. I mean, it's like, I don't have a microscope lying around, and he hasn't done any other things with the microscope, it looks like.
De mi meteorito.
The stick is wood, and it's not catching on fire. Someone asked if it caught on fire
A nuestro
previously.
visitante interplanetario.
It's definitely making weird sounds.
Ustedes están
I shall give him that. Hello. Okay. A reel to TikTok. I'm gonna look up the screen name, chat. Hang on. Nivekino9. Hang on. I'm gonna look up this Instagram. See if it's related at all. Keen09. Okay, interesting. I think this is definitely his Instagram page because he's reposting photos, videos of his TikTok. What? LOL? Meteorites from outer space. Yeah. Those metallic meteorites are kind of composites. There are silicates and other minerals mixed in, and those bits might vaporize on the way down, so you might end up with only the iron left with bits in the other stuff that was there. Gotcha. It's basically an eye to a guy with a cross. Yeah. I think this is his Instagram chat. Because I'm looking at it, and it looks to be the same. But I'm seeing he has posted seemingly nothing about... Okay, I think this is his Instagram. Seemingly nothing to indicate that he found an alien species, okay? Okay. I've screenshotted everything so far. Do we have a date here? Yeah, he's re-uploading videos from Kin Panama as well here. Ooh. Hold on. Sorry, 1 second. When did you post this? The 2nd? Okay. He's limited posts on this comment, but he has a video on Instagram of something that's red falling seemingly to Earth, and the captions don't seem to make sense.
Mis amores, en regeneración, en regeneración.
There's a woman speaking.
Reprogramando desde las naves por la telepatía. Me indiquen todos los códigos aquí desde el comando. Sí, desde las naves. Me indiquen. Y estoy aquí en el planeta Tierra. Me den los códigos.
Could he be posting this as proof that something fell? Okay, there is a video of the meteorite on Instagram from... Okay, this might be on his TikTok as well. Hang on. Okay, it says that this was posted on Instagram as well. There's the on fire hole. I'm sure we'll come upon it. Okay. Sorry, I'm just checking all of his posts because I'm like... Okay, apparently he got a World Airline Award from Skytrax. Looks like he might be a pilot. Definitely his Instagram. She does lives. Yes, hi, we're researching.
Hay que sacarla del depósito. Hay que liberarla.
Look at this old doll. We have to give it a chance, right? That's really creepy and weird. I don't like that at all. Post weird doll on the 30th.
Hay que sacarla del depósito. Hay que liberarla.
We don't have to give it a chance, actually. It's okay. Map of Panama in the sky is the caption on this one. Hold on, Kay, you won the Swell Grand Prix with a Prime boost. Thank you for subscribing. I don't know why it's not popping up on screen. I don't know what's going on. My apologies. But thank you for subscribing. Okay, following work. Did the subscribe work, chat? Did you guys see the subscribe notification? It popped up? Okay, so sorry. The audios are delayed, so I do apologize. Thank you for following. Thank you, Kay, for subscribing. Weird. Okay. Sorry, I don't know why the audios are so delayed, because I'm locked in. Okay. Same video.
Yo no tengo nada que hacer.
¿Pero qué haces?
Nunca.
¿Cómo es tu nada? ¿Cómo es tu nada?
Nothing
Yo
to
nunca
do.
tengo nada
Yo
que
voy a tu
hacer.
casa y ¿qué estás haciendo?
Nada, nada, absolutamente
¿Pero
nada.
qué? O sea...
Y yo les quiero enseñar a la gente. Le digo, ahora te voy a enseñar a no hacer nada.
Tú nada.
Porque siempre quiere hacer algo las personas.
Pero,
¿verdad?
Cristian,
yo no tengo nada que hacer.
¿Pero qué haces?
El meteorito ha
And then
cambiado
we're back
de
to the
color
potato.
y me di
Now it's even more silver, like it hardened or something. Okay. Potato, silver potato comes back. Comes back September 3rd. The video he posted on his story chat of the on fire hole, I mean for Instagram, of the on fire hole was posted August 28th. Okay. Someone replied and was looking at the potato. What? Hang on. Copy. There you can see the reflection of the fire when you light the lighter.
cuenta que destruye todo lo que es planta. No se puede acercar a una planta porque la mata. Miren ustedes. Y cuando uno le pone algo con vida, pues como por ejemplo esta hoja,
Is that the
cuando le
same?
pone algo con vida, ustedes pueden ver.
He claims it changes color and destroys all plants now. And he's tagging at NASA. What NASA account is he tagging? NASA Space. This is definitely not NASA. This is some random NASA account that it's tagging. And who else is he tagging? NASA USA. That's also a fake account. Keeps tagging fake NASA accounts.
Como ella transmite como una fuerza. Totalmente raro. Miren. Y no creen en el meteorito.
That it's
Quisiera que
sucking the
me
life out of
rápido
plants.
investigar este tipo de
Why are you touching it, bro?
no sé de dónde vendrá.
That is very weird.
De qué galaxia.
Yeah, I definitely could heat it up, then put a leaf on it.
Totalmente a lo que es orgánico, como que lo destruye. Pero cuando tú lo agarras,
But you're touching it, no problem. So it's hot enough to destroy plants, but you can touch it.
no sé si estará haciéndome daño en mi mano, pero a mí no me hace nada. Pero a las hojas,
Magnifying
puedes
glass?
ver,
It looks like they're
mira cómo se va.
inside.
El meteorito ha cambiado de color y me di cuenta que destruye todo lo que
Did
es
you
planta.
watch it? Okay.
En donde cayó la roca. Señores, ustedes no pueden creer.
The place where the meteorite fell in Panama shines at night. It's amazing. I'm already there. Hashtag viral TikTok.
Viendo. En donde cayó la roca. Señores, ustedes no pueden creer.
See, this looks like
lo
a spray
que van a
painted
ver a
potato.
continuación. Fui a buscar mi perrito que
See if
estaba
the
atrás
potato will eat a
en el
leaf.
patio. Y cuando veo el lugar donde cayó esta roca, van a ver lo siguiente.
It definitely sounds
Les voy a
heavy.
enseñar algo de otro mundo. Aquí en el lugar donde cayó el meteorito hace varios días. Cuando yo apago la luz, miren cómo se ve. Es algo totalmente increíble. Es un material que brilla.
I'm gonna write claims the spot glows at night. Claims the crash site glows at night. A material that glows. It's infected him, the band-aid.
Un mineral, no sé qué es lo que está brillando ahí, es una locura. Me da miedo ya. Viendo.
It's hard to tell what we're looking at.
Roca.
Okay, this is a photo. What's the translation?
¿Qué podría ser?
Place where the meteorite fell at night. Okay, so it's a second video of the same thing.
No sé qué material, explicación que yo sepa.
So he's claiming this is the glowing bit. Sky. Earth, slight glow. I mean, it does look wonky. Sodium metal, that might
Algo increíble.
wilt a leaf. Oh, why would you... September 4th. He files the potato. For those of you that are just joining us, hi. We're watching a possible alien hoax. I think this is a spray painted potato, but it's operating weird. He thinks it's a meteor, allegedly. He keeps tagging fake NASA accounts, which is interesting. Okay. Basically, on this channel, we've been watching a lot of science videos, and we have decided that we need some type of jar that jumps on screen every time a scientist stresses me out or a man stresses me out. Oftentimes, it is the same type of person stressing me out, okay? This is a man stressing me out, because why would you file it down? I mean, unless you were like, okay, we need a sample to look under the microscope. Maybe, you know? This would also work for counting how many times a man can stress us out. Yeah, so this has given me anxiety. That's where we're currently at. I mean, since English is his first language, he might not know they are fake accounts, not the real NASA, potentially. The scare jar, yeah. The oh dear God jar is what we need. I gotta admit, though, I think I'm down for this. There's a lot closer to the kind of apocalypse I signed up for growing up during the last part of the Cold War. That's fair. It out deaf fake, but he did a fantastic job. Someone in the comments said, not sure if this is fake or not, but if so, dude needs a job in Hollywood. Regardless, welcome for the distraction. Meteorite versus tree leaves, he says. Look like he's beating it up, then doing the leaf thing. And then this video again. He's posted this video a lot.
A muchos les gustó los experimentos que estoy haciendo con esta piedra que cayó del cielo. Supuesta.
Okay, so on here, can I put the captions on? Hang on. Okay, well, let me do the captions on here, I don't think. I can have captions on mobile, so let me see what I can read to you what he's claiming over here as it's going. Many like the experiments I am doing with this stone that fell from the sky. Allegedly. Could be a meteorite. I recorded the day when it fell. It all delicious. It looks delicious. This could not be accurate, obviously. Before it was black, but now it is this color. And many like the experiment I did with the leaves. How it behaves when you place something nearby. Something organic begins to destroy immediately. For you to see how this one behaves. Stone, when you place something over it, organic. And you can see.
A muchos les gustó los experimentos que estoy haciendo con esta piedra que cayó del cielo.
That seemingly is all he says.
Supuestamente podría ser un meteorito.
They're calling it venomkin, by the way.
Cuando cayó.
Has he tried licking it? I vote not licking it.
Toda metálica.
Someone said I've had this for years and I never knew what it was. Put a leaf near it. Let's see what happens, Gabby.
Aluminio.
Someone pulled up a potato.
Antes era negra, pero ahora está de este color.
Calling it a meteorite. I'm calling it an alien egg.
Que hice con las hojas. Cómo se comporta cuando uno le
I was waiting for the camera cut. Damn it, is this actually real? It's a space peanut.
Cerca. No me explico esto. Díganme ustedes. ¿Qué podría
I
ser?
can't explain this. Tell me what it could be. This is where he found it, apparently.
No sé qué material es esto. Increíble.
I don't know what material this is. Amazing.
Esto me está asustando ya.
This is scaring me already.
Yo no
It's
puedo
scaring
creer
me.
esto. No tienes una explicación.
I can't believe there's no explanation that I know of.
Del lugar donde cayó
Of this place where
meteorito.
the meteorite fell. Do reposts help the algorithm or something? So technically, a lot of people do reposts on TikTok. I think he's just like trying to continue to post because he knows it's viral and he's probably making money off of this because I think he has over 10,000 followers now. So who knows? Looks like lights in a bush. He's pointing it down.
Ahora que lo he puesto a tomar sol, veo que le están
Now
haciendo
that I
una
have to
especie
put
como
it,
de
that I have to put it in the
orquídea
sun,
o
I
planta
see that they are
parásita.
making it a kind of plant.
Pero crece muy
Oh, this is when it starts growing, Chad.
rápido.
But it grows very fast.
pero es bajo el sol.
A plant or something is growing in the meteorite is what the caption says. That fell in Panama. I don't like that. Shows the plant on the 7th. Shows the plant, quotation marks, the 7th. How would you describe this? Tentacle-like? Plant-like? Mossy. It's definitely weird. Looks kind of like a fucked up snail. Okay, now is it no longer moving? I would assume it was
Ahora
dead.
que lo he puesto a tomar sol.
Someone said, tag me when the government shows up for the rock. It's full like spider legs. Calamari mossy. I thought it was a spider when it first moved. He's slowing it down, trying to show it moving. It looks like it's flicking like this. The fuck is that? Don't touch it! Oh, God. It's very leech-like. Why is it? What's that thing? What's this? That's new. Why'd you touch it? Bro touched. I'm literally gonna write bro touched it on the 7th. Welcome to Amanda's science adjacent research class where I just get stressed out over people doing insane things. Why the fuck would you touch it? Yeah. Looks kind of poopy, not gonna lie. Yeah. Okay, wait, hang on. I want to check something. One moment. Yeah, you see what I did? Hi, I fucked up. I meant to turn off the screen so I could update the YouTube thing. Instead, I hit my mic. But sorry, YouTube. You guys had no ads on. Now you have ads on. What the fuck is that thing? Beak grows? What would you call that? Beak appears same time? Bro touched it. Also, it has a pink possible beak now. So a squid beak? I don't know. Could be a flower. Could be a flower. Get that going. Snakehead? Almost looks like a pink corn kettle. No, I wouldn't say it's a pink corn. It could be like a literal clump of... So he's taping it up now. It definitely appears to be expanding. Oh wait, is this one? Hang on. Sorry, Todd, I'm trying to get... Okay, the next video, it definitely looks like it's expanding. So look at the size here. Okay, and then look at the next one. Look at how much it's grown over the potato. How it appeared. So some speculation that I saw was that it needed an opening, so him filing it caused a slight opening. Other people are specifying that maybe it needed to feed off organic matter, or something like the chlorophyll of a plant, and the leaves that he was doing his experiment on, it was actually like sucking nutrients from the leaves, and that's what caused it to grow. Bro, bust out that microwave. I don't understand how it appeared. He should do a time lapse so that it would be hard to fake. Being is growing. It's the fact that what's throwing me off, because when I look at things like this, chat, I would look for either a brand new account. This is not a brand new account. And I would also look to see if they've ever posted something like this before. He seemingly has never posted any special effects, any form of alien research type of thing before. He is a pilot, but there's nothing, like, that's not an indication of anything, not really. But, like, I would look for something that would be like, okay, let's say this is fake. How could he reasonably fake this? You know what I'm saying? In nature and stuff, yeah. That looks like a weird crab thing now.
Si alguien me pudiera decir qué es.
I don't
Está
like.
creciendo ahí en mi piedra.
See, he's not touching it and it's moving. Ew.
Ha crecido demasiado rápido.
Hang on, let me see if there's any comments on it. Is he talking? He might be too far away for it to be talking. For it to pick up any audio. Okay, people in the comment sections. Okay, the US needs to confiscate this from you. If it's one of the greatest AI videos I've ever seen, if it's AI. But there's no water.
En menos de 72 horas ha
Okay,
crecido
this is an
bastante.
older video.
Si me preguntan cómo
This is
huele,
why people are pissed it's out of order.
huele a quemado.
Why are you
Cada
bringing it
vez
outside,
huele
bro?
más fuerte. El olor, lo que más parece es como un olor a quemado. Todavía las autoridades competentes no se han presentado. Voy a tener que cambiar el recipiente donde está por
Smells like burnt.
seguridad
Yeah.
y porque está creciendo.
Why would you tape it up?
En menos de 72 horas.
Why would you think you need to tape it up? I think that's his kitchen counter. Yeah. Keeps growing. I'll have to change the container. God. Doesn't need water. That's kind of alarming. Not the Silent Hill music. Oh, okay. I have no more science to offer. It's moving on its own. That means it's flamethrower time. Oh, God. Do not give it to the USA or NASA. The way people are calling this fake, and he's making multiple videos of this same thing. How is it fake? I mean, it would be easy. ChatGPT keeps saying it's a hermit crab. The way that I think this dude is more sane than the person talking to ChatGPT actually needs to be studied. I'm sorry. Like, oh, goodness. Okay, let's go. I'll go to the next one. Well, you might tape it up if you felt like it's something that can propagate via airborne particles, but if that's true, it's way too late to stop that. True. I mean, he was fucking around with it with leaves, and I mean, there's a bunch of things where I'm just like, what did you study? Because you have a microscope. He seemingly has never used the microscope for this thing. Give ideas, and it's, let's forget that before they take him away or he dies. They're calling him Venomkin, by the way.
Lo que me han escrito que
For
quieren
those who have written
comprármelo,
to me,
no está a la
who
venta.
want to buy it from me, it's not for
Estoy esperando a
sale.
las personas correspondientes
I am
para
waiting
que
for
le hagan su
people
estudio.
to carry out
Estoy
their
tratando de
study.
buscar los contactos o los contactos que
I
me
am trying to
localicen.
look for the contacts or contacts that locate
Hoy
me.
voy a a
Hey, today
llevármelo.
I'm going to take it with me.
No voy a estar en la casa, voy a viajar
I will not be in the house.
voy a hacer una visita, o sea que
Travel
me tengo
to.
que ir de
I'm
mi
going to
casa
pay a
y
visit.
pienso
So I have to leave my
llevármelo
house and plan to take it with me.
y espero que llegue
Ah!
bien. Me lo llevo
I hope it arrives
en
well.
una cajeta.
I don't like how it's moving,
Para los que
chat.
me han
I
escrito
really don't like how
que
it's
quieren
moving.
comprármelo, no está a la venta. Estoy esperando a las personas correspondientes para que le hagan su estudio. Estoy tratando de buscar los contactos o los contactos que me localicen. Hoy voy a llevármelo. No voy a estar en la casa. Voy a viajar voy a hacer una visita. O sea que me tengo que ir de mi casa y pienso llevármelo.
Watch.
Y
I don't like that.
espero que
I
llegue bien.
really don't like that.
Me lo llevo en una
I really
cajeta.
don't like that. Okay. Let's go to the next one. This is another older clip.
Tengo videos como este cuando era más pequeño y con otra forma.
I'm curious since when this thing started to grow in my meteorite
Vamos
so
a
that it does
molestar a
not
nuestro
grow. I have it
amiguito.
in orbit since I think the sun makes it grow too much and it scares me. Now there's a purple thing on it. Are those flowers?
Está creciendo.
Now has a
Si
pink
alguien me
and
pudiera
possible
decir
purple flower.
qué está creciendo ahí en mi piedra. Es algo extraordinario. Ustedes están viviendo algo único.
I really don't like it.
Jamás pensé tener algo así en mi... Le voy a enseñar dónde cayó.
A man stressing us out. Alien
Ah,
hoax.
está
Y'all
por
are
aquí.
funny.
Van a ver algo totalmente raro.
Going back. Stop going back to
cayó
the
aquí.
spot. Just
También.
bury it and see what happens, actually. Just take it out. Okay.
Si algo me preocupa,
I
Es que
don't like the
algún día se
tentacle.
desprenda
I
de la
really
roca.
don't like the tentacle, chat.
pero por ahora no. Por ahora le...
I really don't like it. Oh, God. It kind of looks like a dog. Why is it behaving like a dog? Low-key behaving like a dog. Hey, dog. in the tray. I really don't like this thing, chat.
Mantengo su crecimiento paralizado, pues no.
Did he claim he was in the hospital? This is the creator. May have gone to the hospital. Kin May. To wave that top part that and the long green tentacle, the rest doesn't seem to move. Yeah. I find it wild he's keeping it in his kitchen no matter what that is. I wouldn't have it anywhere near my food. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously now. Hang on. Copy. You told me. Dear God. Okay. Oh, wait. That's not what I wanted. There we go.
No dejo tomar mucha luz. Cuando toma luz solar, crece. Por eso que lo mantengo en la oscuridad. Esto no se alimenta. Esto no respira.
It's not a video,
Esto
it's a
no
photo.
toma agua. Solamente lo
A
que
hospital video, it's not a
recibe
hospital video, it's a
energía es
hospital
como de
photo.
la luz.
Did it travel
La
well?
luz solar.
I think someday I will take it off the rock, he says at one point. Okay, so it's multiple tentacles that are moving. That's at least 3 of the top tentacles that are moving, chat. At least 3 of the black tentacles are moving.
Si algo me preocupa es que algún día se desprenda de la roca. Pero por ahora no. Por ahora le mantengo su crecimiento paralizado, pues no lo dejo tomar mucha luz. Cuando toma luz solar, crece. Hoy amanecí bien. Miren que hasta con iniciativa.
I'm sorry, why, actually. I even plan to send everything to my friends. Oh, God, why is it out? That's the thing. It will detach from the rock, gotcha. Oh, God. Hold on, downloading.
Todo se lo pienso mandar
I even
a mis
plan to
amigos
send
en el
everything to my
mundo.
friends around the world with initiative. Fuck. Why is it that big now?
Ha crecido bastante.
It has grown quite a lot. Before asking for samples today, I started sending them by mail to some friends. It has changed colors.
Cambiado de color.
Oh, God. I'm reading the captions. No, don't eat anxiety. Everything will be sent to you for free. He sent... I'm sorry. Are those bits that he has cut off?
No coman ansias. No coman ansias. Todo se le va
It has
a
grown
mandar su
enough
muerte.
even though I have not taken it out of
Es
to the
totalmente
sun.
gratis.
It has grown
Solamente
enough, and what
me
can I get
escriben
out of it?
y yo le mando sus
Is that a bit?
muestras.
Oh,
Ya ha crecido
God.
bastante.
It has 10x'd in size. It has 10x'd in size. And he is now seemingly trimming off bits to ship off in bottles to internet strangers. Parentheses, dear God. Okay, that's what my notes say, chat. Just so you are aware, what my super scientific research notes look like. Again, could this all be bullshit? Yes. Let's say it's real, hypothetically. Okay? Let's play a game. This is so beyond dumb. It's so fucking stupid if this is real. Okay? Okay. Like, oh, God. Why is it so fucking big?
A pesar que no lo he sacado al sol, ya ha crecido bastante y que puedo sacar. Puedo sacar pedazos y se lo puedo enviar.
Stop touching it! I don't like that it's coming under the jar like that.
Totalmente increíble.
I really don't like that. Why is it wet? Why is it damp? Why is it moist? Huh? Appears moist and looks like a weird fucked up Tamagotchi. Looks like a fucked up Tamagotchi. God. Even coming from, is it sweating? Like, I don't know. You can't even see the, yeah, no, guys, this is insane. This is, oh, God. I hate this. I hate it so much. I hate it so much.
Sí, ¿no?
I really don't like it. I don't like that it's moving. So you're saying you found something that is now growing without natural resources and you decide to send pieces of it across the world where it can possibly grow into other separate things and maybe multiple? Yeah, this sounds like a great idea. Why the fuck would you send it over the country? This is literally how it happens in the movies. At the very least, we know who to blame if it becomes a problem. Don't cry, comment, gotcha. This looks like a fucked up little plant thing that's growing. Potatoes be like that sometimes. Ninja, not helping. Okay? Hey guys, about a piece of tentacle plant. It's totally fine. We should submit so it will. God. Ugh.
Hoy amanecí bien.
I hate how it's moving. Okay. I've never wanted the government to take something away so much in my life. This is Men in Black great-ish. Why? What's with the romantic music, bro? Actually. 6 days ago. Did that one die? How would you know which parts of this are sustainable to exist on its own? How would you know that it has a life form that, like, if you, it's like it operates independently of itself if you cut it into pieces? About to tentacle plant so you don't have to, vid when. No, guys, I'm not a psycho, okay? I do a lot of things. See, I explained this the other night to someone because someone did something that I would do, that I literally did, where we both got an invite to something with very limited information and both went, except she did it with a husband and kids, and she like flew out of the state to go to it. And I was like, see, I do that, but I'm operating alone. I just have a dog that I know I can get like care for if something happens to me. You have like a real life. Like I can do crazy shit because the person in danger or at risk is myself. I feel like that's very like good on you for taking a risk and everything worked out fine, obviously, but also like I feel like I would not move the same way. You know what I'm saying? I do things that affect myself, you know? This affects the global population potentially. This will probably be stepped by local plant mount. Like, I don't know. I don't want this going to the dead letter office either. You know, I don't want this. It sounds like he's keeping it inside the country, he was saying. God. God. Okay, he's got this nest on it. Can I see that footage? Give me that footage. Give me. Oh, why is it moving? He has a nest camera on it. Where is this footage? Leave Hans Zimmer out of this. This can't be real. There would have been biologists from all over the world on this. He would not have this in his possession for long. I don't think the tape's gonna do anything, bro. No, actually, no. No. This is from 6 days ago. Vid from God. Is that what he cut and it was moving? Yeah, sounds like it. Seems like it. Is it rotting the plate? More viney now. Is it just wet on the plate or is it affecting the plate? leaking on the
Algún
plate.
día va a desprenderse de la piedra, eso es lo que me preocupa. Si se desprende la piedra, ya quedaría totalmente solito. Ya
I think it's just
individual, pues,
leaking.
como...
Plate rot or mold, maybe.
Ya lo voy a quitar de aquí porque ve que se está moviendo como cada vez más. Y yo me parece que hasta puede estar creciendo ahorita mismo.
Okay, so people are claiming in the comment section it got lower quality because it got the phone it could be fake because the phone got lower quality. The video got lower quality when it started to move, which could be true, or it could be fucking with the radio frequencies. It was a fun oh, that looks a bit sus now. It looks a bit like AI. Oh, it's moving for real now. I'm afraid it's going to detach from the rock. Looks like it's growing right now. Why did it look like it's taking a breath? Yeah, that looks a little different now. As it gets bigger, it looks more like AI.
No, no. Ya que ustedes no son los que están aquí. Ustedes no son los que están aquí.
You were saying? You were saying? You were saying? I really don't like how that thing is moving. It's the way that, hang on.
Preocupa. Si se desprende la piedra,
He thinks
ya
it's growing
quedaría
now in
totalmente
the
solito.
light.
Ya individual, pues, como... Ya lo voy a quitar de aquí porque ve que se está moviendo como cada vez más. Y yo me parece que hasta puede estar creciendo ahorita mismo. No, no. Ya que ustedes no son los que están aquí.
Now it's in the dark.
Ustedes no son los que están aquí.
Kin thinks it grows in any light. Not just sunlight. Lower quality to hide the fishing line? Maybe. Stop. Now you're using proper safety when touching it, huh? You were shipping out pieces a minute ago, bro. No scientists were coming. He was shipping out the bottles. Stop pulling it! This is like a new version of the Demon Core, where like I'm just like, why the fuck are we why are we tickling the He's literally tickling the dragon's tail, chat. He's literally tickling the dragon's tail. Oh my fucking god. Ugh. Oh god. Get a dog. Get the dog out of there.
Baby.
Get the
¿Qué
dogs
pasa?
out of there. Get the fucking dogs out of there.
Ahora le enseño el frasco que antes era. Ya necesito ponerlo. Desde hoy le estoy colocando eso. Yo nunca había hecho live.
It's wormwood. It's written in Revelation.
Animal, vegetal.
It's a stinkhorn mushroom, LOL, from the early stages of the meteorite. They grow pretty fast. This is after its growing stage, and it's rotted and decayed. The movements are from insects that are inside eating it. Man, if this was real, the government would have already come. What's he claiming? That there's a stick under it?
No sé si es animal, vegetal. A veces me engaña. Yo pienso que es como un musgo.
I've never done a live before.
Cuando nació yo pensé que era como un
Insects in the
tipo de...
rock? They're claiming it's a mushroom, not an insects. If this is how we all die, alien core is the new demon core. Keep the baby safe. Maybe the silver potato is all that is needed for nutrition. Yeah. See, I want to see this footage. Show me this thing. So it was on TikTok Live? I hate this thing. Oh yeah, he started keeping it in a safe, chat. No. Actually, I don't like that it took the lid off. Took the lid off. It appears to have taken its lid off. It appears it... Pristine corn mushrooms, some of them look pretty freaky, but they don't look quite like this. Rip swell. Okay, the safe is a bit unserious. I agree. Get a light in there. I want to see. Why is it moving like a crab? Oh, it's off the rock fully. Chat, it is fully off the rock. Why is it fully off the rock? Fully off the rock. Is this a different time of it? Fully off the rock. Did it molt? Wait, is that what this is? Did it molt? Did it molt? Did it molt? Fully separated from the rock. Could have molted? Okay. What is that? This is from the hole where he claims to have found it. That has to be fake because there's no way that you got an alien in your home, and NASA or the federal government is not rolling up on you. Okay, well, first of all, NASA is a United States agency, chat. Panama is not in the United States. It looks like a rock lobster. Well, this looks drastically different than what we've previously seen from this thing. Looks drastically more like a rock, like a lobster of some sort now. Looks more crustacean-like. Panama. The U.S. wishes Panama was theirs. A few extras. Oh, lobster with a few extra steps. I don't have any other containers to put it in. Gotcha. I feel like the CIA would have busted in on this. Never mind NASA. The CIA, I mean, where's the value of this for the CIA? For United States intelligence, truly. Like... Why are you why is that blurred? Why are you blurring shit? Why? Why? Weird text post like the alien posted it. Fake alien post. Fake alien. I've gotten like 7 pages of fucking notes, chat. Everyone in the comments, if you download this to actually save it, you have to save it to a USB. This is not connected to an app. Mark my words. If you don't do this, it'll be gone from your device 7 days tops, most likely 24. Oh, okay. Sure, they're gonna come delete this off my app. It's fine since the girl who did the video on TikTok called failed POV and it glitches out after it loops. They're pointing at the black smudges on his hand? Okay. He had dirt on his hand. I don't know why that would be an indication of anything. Sure, bro.
No dejen que borren los videos. No dejen que borren los videos.
The fuck is that? Thank you for subscribing, Ijin Tourist. You won the Swell Grand Prix. Thank you for subscribing. Hold on, let me go back to regular chat so I can see your... Subscribe for 3 months in advance. Thank you for subscribing for 3 months in advance. You won the Swell Grand Prix for 3 months in advance. Wah, 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 wah. Thank you for subscribing. Much appreciated. Okay, back to multi-chat. Sorry. It doesn't show up properly without multi-chat. Okay. That's it? Is it? Oh, he's carrying it.
No dejen que borren los videos. No dejen que borren los videos.
This is all fake and he's pulling our leg. He deserves the Oscars. Looking at the captions. He's saying don't let them erase the videos and he's crying. Okay, this is the next video, chat.
Yo estoy bien. No se preocupen, yo estoy bien. La cosa es que no se lo llevaron, yo lo tengo. Yo lo tengo, no deje que se lo llevaran. Me voy a apagar el celular, pero no se preocupen, yo estoy
I
bien.
didn't listen to myself.
Porque no me hice caso.
Don't worry, I'm fine.
Yo
The
estoy
thing
bien.
is, if they didn't take it, I
No se
have it.
preocupen, yo estoy bien.
I have it. Don't,
La cosa es que no
don't
se lo
let
llevaron,
them
yo lo
take it
tengo.
away. Is he claiming someone is there to
Yo
take
lo
it?
tengo, no.
Seems to claims people. I don't know. You were calling for help a while ago. Claims people. Hi, Vroom Vroom. Hi, we're talking about Venom Guy. I didn't pay attention to them. I'm good. Don't worry. They didn't take him. I didn't pay attention to them. God. Not CPS coming to take the kid. God.
No deje que se lo llevaran.
Okay, put it back. The plastic tongs are taking me out. Kuna, thank you for the gifted sub. Bow, 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 bow.
Ay, que me tocó.
Why is it moving like that? I really don't like it.
Mamá. Estás ahí.
I don't like how it's looking like that, chat.
Llegaste.
I don't like how it's looking at us.
Lo encontré totalmente despegado.
Why is it moving like that? I have not created other accounts, nor have I made school laboratories with anyone. Please do invent. These videos are from September 10th. They cannot disappear. Clearly, it's eating the coins. Ah, Kuna! Hold on. Hi, Kuna. Thank you for the 2,200 bits and the corgis. Thank you. Okay, yay. Oh, yeah, 35% off 5 gifted subs, apparently, for the next 5 minutes, chat. Or 4 minutes, because of September. So, is that a lobster? That's what we thought. It was like a lobster, but fucked up. We think this is a hoax and or alien. But either way, he's stressing us the fuck out. Jim Henson would be so sad how far puppetry has fallen.
Lo encontré totalmente despegado. Mira, se quiere hasta la luz.
Live and the size from that day.
Ustedes no se han dado cuenta que cuando yo grabo después de que se va al internet.
He claims this is from a live stream.
Muchos quieren que lo pongan en el sol, no. Jamás podría poner esto en el sol. Porque ya no me va a caber.
When I hit record, the internet goes out. It's too well. There's a certain pattern of cinematography technique that is popular in found footage horror, which is kind of starting to show here. Nevertheless, this is still disturbing in the extreme. Oh, they're showing that there were matches in the fire pit. That's what this was. I was like, what the fuck is that? It's like matches in the fire pit. Evidence of matches in the crash site. Oh, now he's rubber gloves, yeah. I like how the match person looks devastated. Like,
Mira que uso guantes. Tengo 7% de carga. No sé, estoy haciendo en vivo con 7% de carga.
thank you for
Como les
following.
decía, estoy grabando todo lo estoy grabando. Ustedes han visto cómo yo he llamado a las autoridades, nadie ha venido, ni una universidad.
Browse quality.
Ni siquiera un periodista me ha llamado.
And even though I've watched a lot of found footage horror, I'm still freaked out.
Muchos le llaman.
I think let's say if this is found footage, because I agree, I watch a lot of found footage horror as well, and there's a lot of comparisons. Especially this is giving like 2010s found footage era on YouTube. Thank you for the follow. Still, the audio alert just went off. This does not look too burnt though. Only the tip. Yeah. Still. Let's say this is all fake and it's like meant to be a found footage horror. I would not like this protagonist because he's stressing me the fuck out. You know what I'm saying?
¿Cómo? Pero nuestra hoy.
This is that video.
Ay, me quiere descargar. Una amiga me está ayudando y me está dando refugio
A
aquí.
friend is helping
Aquí no
me
vive nadie.
and no one lives here.
Yo creo
And
que
what
no
I
ha
have,
crecido tanto, no
I don't think
permito que
so.
haga luz.
Has not grown that much. No, I do not allow light.
En esta ventana sí que tuve que poner unos cartuchos.
Isn't this what I did have to put some cartridges in it?
Ahí me están esperando. Me trajeron un maletín y quiere que le dé las muestras
They are waiting
y
for
voy a
me.
entregar el meteorito.
They have brought me a briefcase and he
Espero que
wants me
esté
to give
bien
him the samples,
resguardado
and
en buenas manos.
I'm going to give myself all. Is this one of the samples? She's giving me refuge. I don't like that it's moving like that. So, okay, so they gave a sample?
Una
He
amiga
gave
me
that
está
sample. So he did give that sample?
ayudando
Friends
y
helping me and
me está dando
God,
refugio aquí. Aquí no vive nadie. Y lo que
asking for
tengo,
samples. I mean, I grew up out in Central Texas, Hill County in the 70s. If you found anything that looked like this, especially if it was moving, you go get your gas can out of your truck, soak that thing with every drop, and light it up. And you don't stop till it's nothing but dust in the wind. No indication he gave it yet. There's a beetle covered in tar, chat. That's a beetle covered in tar.
yo creo que no ha crecido.
See, this is another.
Hoy vino
This
unas personas que me contactaron y parece que son especialistas en esto.
Today, some people came to me and contacted me, and it seems they're a specialist in this. Specialist in what?
Aquí en esta casa. Lo malo es que no salieron todo el día y no, tengo que tener todo tapado
Say
porque
they're specialists.
aquí no puede entrar la luz.
The bad thing is that I haven't been out all day. I had to
Acuérdense
have
que la luz se
everything
alimenta
covered
de
because the light cannot
esa cosa que está
interfere.
creciendo.
Remember that light is fed by it. It is fed by light.
Hoy vino unas personas que me contactaron y
God.
parece que son especialistas en... Dios, todo esto me está volviendo loco. Esto parece una película de terror. Hoy le
It's a
pienso
beetle. I
enseñar
mean, I can go with the tar.
cómo está de grande.
So this is the whole
Ya creo
story.
que tenemos que destruirlo.
Well, no,
Hoy
that's
colocaré
not.
una cámara en la caja fuerte. Dentro de la caja fuerte. Y si tienes miedo, te pido perdón.
So we did give a piece up. That's him giving his bit up. He gave something to someone. That's him
Dios,
giving
todo esto me
something to
está
someone,
volviendo
chat.
loco.
Big November Scorpio. The FBI, God.
Dios, todo esto... Increíble que es lo que estoy haciendo.
I went to see how it is. It has grown. The people who came yesterday to look for the sample blocked me. I thought they were serious. Feels like a horror movie. I kept the camera in the safe. I think it's time to destroy it. Conveniently, they posted them out of order. It feeds off the light. This, I think, was the first video I saw of, like, the actual one that I saw, chat. I just haven't seen a beetle move like that before, but I have never encountered a Panamanian beetle or an Amazonian beetle. Texas beetles don't move like that, which is why we let them live. Not gonna lie, this is better than some actual horror movies. I mean, nature is crazy. Oh, now it's time to destroy it. This video, I was like, okay, this gotta be fucking fake. I don't like it, but it's gotta be fake. Watch this.
A ver cómo está.
Stop taking fucking samples, bro. Stop it. I hate this thing.
Wow, estás grande.
definitely has grown.
Es crecido bastante. Me das miedo.
Shine.
Increíble con lo que estoy haciendo.
It's grown a lot. I'm scared. It looks like it answered the door. LMAO. Wow, it's big. Oh, hell nah. Also awesome. That's real. Burn the house down. Don't like that. It's gonna jump out of there. It does look like it's gearing up, chat. It's moving real crazy. Oh, God. Okay, it's claiming, he claims in the next video that his videos are getting taken down.
Your attention, please. Your attention, please. Save the videos. Save the videos. There are evidence. They'll probably all be deleted. Su atención, por favor. Guarden los videos, guarden los videos. Son nuestras pruebas.
Vamos a pensar que esto nació de un meteorito.
Looks root-like, almost.
Vamos a pensar que esto nació de un meteorito. Con unos cartuchos en la ventana.
Stop getting close. Like a potato. Fuck that shit. I am fine, I'm sure.
Y lo que tengo, yo creo que no ha crecido tanto. No permito que haga luz.
I still think fire could solve this problem. We might need something like a fuel air device at this point, but well, if it hasn't mailed off the samples yet, maybe 1 or 2 airstrikes with napalm. Jesus. Air fire and turn it back into calamari. And they go watch movies. Bet it becomes his best friend and they go watch movies. And this, to think this came out of a meteorite. One issue I have is there's no consistency in how it moves. Firstly, it was twitching and waving. Now it's like breathing. Then crab skittering. Now, like, bending and waving, there would be some consistency in type of movement if it were real.
Esta ventana sí que tuve que poner unos cartuchos. Porque no tengo más cortina.
That's an old clip,
Aquí no puede entrar la luz.
I think.
Acuérdense que la luz se alimenta de
I have no
esas
experience
cosas que
with air
están
fire, so you
creciendo.
get a large one. If this turns out to be some guerrilla marketing for an alien film, there's no fucking way. Someone in the comment section under the screen named Girl with a Big Ass Dog. I feel like if you keep it locked in a dark box. Hold on.
Con unos
Why do we have this musical break? I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I put them in danger according to you. I don't sleep and I'm thin. How romantic. Why do you keep taking it with you? Stop that! Why is it... Is everything rusting around it? Is it rusting? appears to be rusting the safe. The specimen. How do you guys think he feels about Panama? Things can be painted to look like rust. If it's a cheap safe, which it appears to be, anything would be crazy for moisture inside to rust it fairly easily. Yeah, that looks like it could be spray paint. I want to see an aspiration video in the park playing soccer with dad and his poor son. Someone in the comments, what is that? Don't mind me, I'm just cruising around with my alien in the back seat.
Amiga, no te puedo ayudar más. Yo no quiero entrevista, no quiero nada. Para Mundo Místico, pues.
I don't want anything for Mystical World because...
Amiga, no te puedo ayudar más. Yo no quiero entrevista, no quiero nada.
I can't help you anymore. I don't want an interview.
Para Mundo Místico, pues.
Stop moving it. This is 7 hours ago, chat.
Feels like the world are all closing in, and the devil's knocking.
Is this a re-upload? Oh, there's a camera inside this safe. Is that an eye? Chat, is that an eye in the center?
Oh, I don't know myself. Feels like the world are all closing.
Okay, that's the most recent video.
Devil's knocking at my door.
Hermes, stop digging. And that's the most recent video, chat. Hermes, stop digging. Hey, 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 stop, hey. Hey, 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 hey. Stop it. Stop it. Stop.
Oh, I don't know myself.
I don't remember some cutting it. Oh, God. Evolution of Ser. But, like, what are we going to do when it jumps on him? He can't make it up. The ground around where their meteor landed was glowing. It also glows when the ground and eats organic matter. Nobody's understanding that he can't go live if you're trying to see clear pics. He would have to use light. It is breathing.
Feels like a...
God. That's the most recent video, chat. This vibes, honestly. Oh, God. I don't know. Hang on. Let me go back to the tag.
This message goes out to Ken from Panama, and I'm going to say in Spanish so he understands. Mátalo. He found a rock, a meteorite, in Panama. Panama, okay? This guy is from Panama. And the rock looked like a little meteorite rock. Then it starts growing like a fungus, okay? You can watch his videos. I will, like, stitch him or whatever, give him credit in the comments if I can. The rock is not a rock anymore. The rock looks like some alien versus predator type of thing. He's keeping it in a safe because if he puts it out in the light, in the sunlight, it grows. When I tell you guys, the rock was like this big, it hatched or something, and now it looks like
the rock didn't hatch though. The rock is still in the hole.
Like it moves. It has hands. It's
7
black.
hours
It looks
ago.
like venom. It's like oh my God, you have to watch the videos. And this message is for Ken in Panama. Mátalo, burn it. We don't need to see it anymore. We saw enough. enough evidence. Something's growing. It's not from here. It's not a fungus. People are saying it's a fungus. It's a mushroom. It's not. So burn it. Just put it out in your backyard and just burn it, please, with flames.
Burn it, please, with
If
flames.
you guys want to see, this message goes out to Ken from Panama, and I'm gonna say in Spanish so he understands.
Did he mail pieces or was that bullshit?
You're about to see multiple videos of the craziest alien-looking thing you've ever seen. This could be real. So there's this TikToker by the name of Kin Panama. That's his TikTok name, right? And one day he went outside and he saw a crater, not a very big crater, but a small crater. Watch this and watch what happens to this thing. If you haven't heard about this, congratulations, you found a fantastic video, right?
Dear God.
Wow, ¿eso qué es?
See, this one got deleted on TikTok, I think.
Ken, corre! Ven a ver! Ken! Más agua. Yo creo que ya puedes agarrarlo. ¿Está frío? No está tan grande. ¿Tú sabes cuánto debe valer esto? Todo en las redes sociales que parece una papa. Que era
This is a
algo
7-minute
de
video.
hormigas.
Respectfully, we're not watching this whole thing.
Trust me.
This is 9 hours ago.
Do not go that route. Trust me. Do not go that route.
Oh, that's weird. We'll watch her full video. Hang on.
This message is for Ken
There we
Panama.
go.
Ken, I know you don't know me in real life, but listen, you need to come with me if you want to live.
Thank you,
Okay,
Casual
I'm joking
Manny.
about that part. I just always wanted to say that. Ken, whoever you are talking to, whoever the journalist is that you are talking to, retract, hang up, block. Don't talk to any journalist.
potato.
Don't talk to anyone. What are you doing, bro? It's a bad move. It's a bad move. These people never have your best interests at heart. They never do anything in good faith. They will take your words, they will twist them, they will make you seem like some kind of mad scientist just putting together specimens, bro. Do not talk to them. Also, do not bring anybody in to see
They aren't hot,
venom.
certainly.
Okay?
Not
If
hot
you're
enough to
not
set
live
fire to
streaming
the
it,
grass
that's
around
they can see it on
And
your
small
live
one
stream.
that size,
Do
it
not
would
bring
not have
anybody
made
into
a
your
dent in the
workshop.
ground, let alone
Don't bring
a tiny
anybody
flaming
to
crater.
see that thing where they can touch it, ID it, take pictures of it, videos of it, and locate and send someone to the location. Please.
Okay, someone in the comments said someone else ran it through AI. AI said it's real, not fake. What is it? We still don't know. These are the results. All right, bestie. Fuck me. God. Here's what I see after breaking this video down frame by frame movement. There's true organic shifting. Tendrils bend and pull back slightly, not in sync with the camera, so it isn't just hand jitter. Some motion looks like pulsing, which is classic slime mold behavior. They move fluids internally, causing rhythmic contraction, expansion. Color, the mass is mostly dark black brown. Did it grow an eye? And look at him. Visually, yes, it creates the illusion of an eye glancing out. Biologically, it likely just symmetrical fungal growth, what happens to look like an eye. So it feels alive and creepy, but it's probably not a sensory organ. I don't know what, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna grab some water real fast, chat.
I also got goldfish, chat.
There's a lot of unknown species right here on this planet, and they've had 4.5 billion years to become deadly. These days, do you feel like someone right here in Texas more likely to make a mistake like that? Well, that's all we have right now. All the other videos about this are just something to burn it, chat. How far is Panama from South Antonio? I need to look at Google Maps. Pretty far south. Extremely far. Hi, Bubbas. Hermes wants a goldfish, but it's not for him. All right. That's all we have for now. I will keep an eye on Kin's page. I've downloaded all the videos to see if they come back up. I will keep you posted. Okay? I can't escape the $20 safe that isn't even locked half the time. It ain't the apex of shit. You guys have choices. More science videos. All my new symbiote overlords. Okay. Science. I was wondering as well, did you see the Pottery Barn F1 collection for teens and kids? Yes. I low-key want the playmat, but I'm not going to do it. More creatures? Maybe. Let me see. Maybe at this point. He's opened the safe enough times that I wouldn't be surprised if it knows the entry code by now. Yeah. Oh, this ought to be good. It says not clickbait in the title.
It's covered in a strange pattern of dark spots. Patterns like
The
this
thumbnail says
are
not
nearly
clickbait.
always traced back to life forms, microbes and bacteria. But this rock isn't from Earth. It's from Mars. The rock was recently discovered by NASA's Perseverance rover, and yesterday in a press conference, they claimed it was the best evidence to date of alien life on Mars.
This very well could be the
We're
clearest
aliens.
sign of life that we've ever found on Mars.
We've heard similar things to this before. Potential biosignatures on exoplanets or organic molecules in the
I met this guy, by the way. We hung out for a bit at Open Sauce.
clouds of Venus. So let's get to the bottom of this together. Earlier this year, I visited NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory where Perseverance was built to discuss the search for alien life. And these were the exact patterns that they told me they were searching for. If they are right, this represents a significant turning point in the course of humanity. An answer to the question we have been asking for thousands of years. Are we alone in the universe? I hope you're ready. Our story begins in the Jezero crater. NASA chose to send Perseverance here because it looks like it would have been friendly to life in the past. The crater was once a vast lake, Various rivers flowed with water, and all of the right materials were present to support life. But today, Mars is dry and arid, so Percy is searching for fossils of ancient life. On June 9th last year, they drove into an inlet channel, and a slab of hardened rock stood out to the team. They drove closer, and what they found was amazing. The rock sample appeared to be covered in these tiny little dark spots and large circles. The team immediately gave them a nickname: leopard spots and poppy seeds. While this might look pretty normal to you and I, this set off alarm bells for the geologists at NASA.
My name is Adam Stelzner. I was the chief engineer for Perseverance. I'm currently the chief engineer for the Mars sample return effort.
On Earth, very similar kinds of markings have been observed, and they are often linked to microbes, kind of like a fossilized record that the mud was once filled with life.
If we saw them here on Earth, we'd say, oh, that's done by biology. But seeing it on Mars?
Everyone was naturally really excited, so they immediately got to work, deploying Perseverance's whole toolkit to analyze the sample. Given the importance of what they might have stumbled upon, the team decided to drill into it and preserve it for further analysis. A key goal of Perseverance is to drill these samples and collect them so that one day we can send a mission to retrieve them and bring them back to Earth. Remember this for later.
Yeah, no, it is crazy that we're like, okay, yeah, we're gathering samples. We don't know how we're gonna get those yet. But thanks for gathering samples, you know. They've just been process of reviewing the data. It happens.
So they drilled, taking a sample and sealing it in a metal tube. The sample was nicknamed Sapphire Canyon, and it's one of the most valuable samples ever collected on Mars.
We are taking cores with Perseverance, and we've had some cores that appear to give us potential ancient biosignatures.
Percy even took a selfie right after drilling the sample. You can see the freshly drilled rock down here. Little did they know at the time what they were going to find when they analyzed the rock could change the course of human history forever.
Did life arise on Mars? Huge question.
Yeah.
If life...
That doesn't mean it's gonna change the course of human history. The course of what humans believe is capable and out there, maybe, but the course of human history, I highly doubt.
Life arises everywhere where it can, that paints a very different picture of the universe than one in which life only occurs extremely rarely upon special circumstances.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves and declare that we have found alien fossils, we need to be careful because we've been wrong before. Our hunt for life on Mars is a story that now spans multiple decades. In 1976, NASA's Viking landers had finally made it to the Red Planet, and it was time to perform the
alien
first
videos,
experiments designed to detect Martian life. They essentially just squirted nutrients into the Martian soil to see if anything was alive in it that would eat
still the whole
nutrients.
question of
All of a
intelligent
sudden,
life,
the Martian
and then
soil started to
technological
release
intelligent life.
gas,
Fair.
as if there were
I think that's
microbes
very
and
different
bacteria
than
that was
the course of
inside the
human
soil
history.
digesting it. Everyone was so excited. They thought we had proven that Mars has microbes, but the scientists eventually realized reactive chemicals in the soil would very easily explain the results. No need for life, just salts. Finally, as we entered the 2000s and started putting rovers on the surface of Mars, Spirit and Opportunity, the evidence all seemed to point to the fact that Mars was once very similar to Earth, covered in vast oceans and rivers of liquid water.
We know from Spirit and Opportunity, Mars was wet 3 billion years ago when life was just starting here on Earth. And we know from Curiosity that the conditions of that wet Mars were habitable for life.
Naturally, this led scientists to believe that fossil records of alien life from this time must be hiding around these lake beds and rivers.
They forgot to take into account the mass of the wire
sample in hand, or should I say robotic arm, ready to make the biggest discovery on Mars to this day. Perseverance has a number of tools in its arsenal to perform analysis and help us search for signs of life. First, there's Pixel. This device basically helps us find which elements are present in the sample. And then we have Sherlock. It uses lasers to detect certain minerals and organic molecules. Now, when Percy aimed these tools at the sample, it made everyone's heart stop. It's exactly what they hoped for. The mudstone contained organic molecules, carbon-based compounds, right where those little strange spots were. And it didn't stop there. The rings also seem to be filled with iron, phosphorus, sulfur, and two very special minerals. Vivianite and greigite. On Earth, Vivianite and greigite are often associated with decaying animals and plant matter. That's a huge clue. Over the next year, scientists on Earth pushed this data to its limit. They looked at the composition of the sample and hypothesized about what might have created these weird spots. And finally, just a few days ago, they made their announcement.
We put it out to our scientific friends.
Okay. I know this is real. This looks like a fake NASA announcement. This setup. Something about the framing of this, something about the lighting makes this look very fake. Like, I would up the lighting. I would extend the backdrop, because why is it just this tiny little step and repeat backdrop? The way they're standing. This guy, yeah, I hear what you're saying.
To pressure test it, to analyze it, and go, did we get this right? Do we think this is signs of ancient life on Mars? And after a year of review, they've come back and they said, listen, we can't find another explanation. So this very well could be the clearest sign of life that we've ever found on Mars.
In simple terms, it's actually insane. They had found all 3 key ingredients for life in one rock sample: liquid water, organic molecules, and an energy source. It's the first time they had found all 3 of them in one sample. If you think about it, it's kind of like if you stumbled across a campsite with a campfire ring, some ashes, and some leftover food. That's really strong
might find
evidence
aliens
that
before
someone
GTA
had
6.
camped there, even if we can't see them right now. They did, of course, consider some alternative solutions.
Hang on, let me search NASA press conference, because this is going to drive me nuts.
In the past, and we are going to continue to lead in space in the future. And again, this discovery today, I hope makes everyone excited about the future missions that we're going to have, and the exploration we're going to do, and the science we're going to develop to make sure we can send Americans, mankind, throughout the universe. And so, but we do want to lean into this exciting news that we have today. And to give us more, I'm going to turn it over to Nikki Fox, who is the Associate Administrator for our science mission. Nikki?
Thank you so much.
For our science
Thank you.
mission.
Yes, it really is an exciting day today. NASA...
The lack of microphones, I think, also is stressing me out.
What we do is we study the seemingly impossible. That's what we do every day at NASA.
Why are you reading off of that?
Science. And NASA science is undisputably the global authority in the search for life beyond our home planet. And so today we are going to talk to you about this amazing, exciting discovery. And I also want to make sure that we put context around it.
Are you real? Okay, this looks to be a real. 2013.
The seemingly impossible. That's what we do every day at NASA Science. And NASA Science is undisputably the global authority in the search for life beyond our home planet. And so today we are going to talk to you about this amazing, exciting discovery. And I also want to make sure that we put context around it. And you see like how it fits into our search for life in the universe. Our galaxy is 100 billion light years across. And within 10 light years of Earth, there are at least 400 known planets. And that means there is a possibility, some would even say a probability, of life beyond Earth, including maybe even complex intelligent life. And today, we are really showing you how we are kind of one step closer to answering humanity's one of their most profound questions, and that is, are we truly alone in the universe? So if I could have the first image, please, that would be great. So last July, as Secretary Duffy eloquently described, NASA's Perseverance
No, the lighting is very
rover
off.
found a leopard-spotted rock at Mars. And scientists immediately knew. It was interesting, we hadn't seen anything like that before on Mars.
But
we
all
talked
the key
about it
people
last
now
summer.
are people
The
who
moment
say
we
things
found
like,
it,
we're
we
going
put
to
out
really
the
lean into
images
this.
for everybody to
Cool.
see and everybody to share.
doing incredible.
Share in the joy of NASA science. And, you know, today, we're really here celebrating that incredible hard work of the science team as they literally tried to prove it wasn't interesting.
For 25 years.
Let's look at space. Riveting. Hang on, I'm looking up the... Sorry, I'm looking. Okay, people are saying that the paper that they've put out is very compelling at the very least. Created longer. Yeah, no, I think this is the official NASA account, and NASA Video, dead ass, might be their like other account. Hermes. Yeah, so NASA News Briefing is listed here. That's the stream we were just watching, chat. It is official. Because this is NASA's news briefings, and there's NASA Video, NASA Video, NASA Video, NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory. So there's clearly multiple, other NASA channels. Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe it's just something else. Maybe it's not, you know, the key result that we've been waiting for. And so they've done the analysis on these leopard spots, and we think they are potentially made by some sort of ancient life. This finding by our incredible Perseverance rover is the closest we've actually come to discovering ancient life on Mars. And
Actually,
if you
giving
can't tell,
recorded
we're really
uni
excited
lecture,
about
and
that.
they have lav mics.
But you know, I also I want to put it into context.
Just like someone who
It's a
knows about proper
signature.
shot composition.
It's
Haha,
a sort of
maybe.
leftover sign. It's not life itself.
Providing some overall geologic context for the
a very fine grain
Element, molecule, substance, or feature that might have a biological origin but requires more data or further study before reaching a conclusion about the presence or absence of life. And then finally, as we have explored Mars, one of our main goals has been to determine if Mars was habitable in the past and whether or not life was ever present. This was part of the reason that we sent Perseverance to Jezero Crater. And the findings that we talked about here, they weren't in...
All right. Let me go back. Hold on. I shall find new video. Ah. How many did you get a goldfish? That lady sounds like someone who works at NASA. You're funny. She's the only person up there so far that sounded like a real scientist. God, YouTube recommendations have not been good lately, chat. Ooh.
You don't try and go.
Wired does it better. Okay. Back to the drawing board. I'm looking up the word science again, chat. That gave us something last time. Not Scientology. I just thought they shared the same last name. No. They haven't done a project together before, right, chat? I don't think they have. Why would I want a previously watched section here? Why would you give me this? Hang on. About modern scientific. Oops. There we go. I need to keep adjusting this because I keep reading I'm not in frame. Let's see. God, now I'm getting all these videos featuring Brian Cox because we watched that one clip of that Brian Cox video. Actually, YouTube, I need you to sort this out. I didn't even finish the video. That I know Al Fanning played in a movie. That's cool. The biggest strength of a modern scientific method is that you don't ever really prove anything in finality. You just continue to disprove it. So by that standard, it's going to take a really long time to establish there's life out there. Literally, guys, every third video is a Brian Cox video. Let's see. Everything is also AI. Actually, why? Why? Ugh. God. Are the contents about AI? It's all AI generated. All right, guess we are doing a video from friend of the channel, Kyle.
May 25th, 1953.
A first-of-its-kind nuclear artillery shell detonates at the U.S. government's Nevada test site with the same yield as the bomb that obliterated Hiroshima, Japan, 8 years earlier. A mushroom cloud of vaporized material and radioactive particles, fallout, rises into the skies directly behind where I'm standing right now. The blast, part of Operation Upshot Knothole, was one of 11 such nuclear tests that would occur in 1953.
Upshot knothole? Sorry, Kyle. Not that I don't doubt you. Hold on. Operation Upshot knothole. Holy shit. It was a series of 11 nuclear test shots conducted in 1953 at the Nevada test site. It followed Operation Ivy and preceded Operation... Why Upshot knothole? Actually. Test type, free airdrop, gun deployed, and tower. Over 21,000 soldiers took part in the ground exercise Desert Rock 5 in conjunction with the Upshot knothole Grabble shot. Grabble was a 280 millimeter artillery-fired atomic projectile shell fired from the atomic cannon and was viewed by a number of high-ranking military officials. Why did we call it? Okay, whatever. Upshot knothole, I guess.
A year later, in the June of 1954, hundreds of Hollywood cast and crew would descend upon the desert to begin filming The Conqueror, just 220 kilometers downwind.
Yikes.
Some of Hollywood's biggest Golden Age stars would spend 6 weeks filming in the dust and sand near St. George, Utah, where most of the fallout from previous nuclear tests had settled. Their set was demonstrably radioactive.
Jeez.
In the decades to come, nearly half of the men and women who worked just a few weeks in this desert would either develop cancer or die from it, including Hollywood legend John Wayne.
How is there a movie about the radioactive movie set? Probably for the lulz, like Doge was not the first ridiculous name in government thing. An idea of trying downscaling the size of nuclear weapons to the battlefield level, where you could use, say, a 15 kiloton artillery round to wipe out an enemy. We're learning about the fact that there was apparently a radioactive film set. BRB gonna pitch that.
These striking statistics would make the Conqueror forever infamous for something other than bad acting and insensitive casting. Did a movie shot downwind from an atomic test site actually kill one of Hollywood's biggest stars? Or is there something more to these numbers? This is the true story of the Conqueror. At the height of his career, American film legend John Wayne made a mistake. After reading a script and lobbying for the role, the silver screen icon would appear in 1956's The Conqueror as an undeniably miscast Genghis Khan. The film...
Oh! Genghis Khan? Maybe that's why they haven't made a movie on this. That's... wow. Oh, God, just this is crazy. Oh, good God. 2 years in the making at the cost of $6 million. I am Temujin barbarian. I fight, I love, I conquer like a barbarian.
Did well.
Pause. Let me get Hermes. Pause. Hermes. Stop it. Relax. I'm coming. Hi, relax. Okay. Relax. Just lay down. I love you. Lay down. Relax. Hi. I love you. Okay. What the? What was that? Hi. I love you. You're okay. It's just the neighbors. Hey, yeah. Yeah, you get scratches. Gosh. You really are chopped right now. I really need to trim your beard up. Yeah. Yeah, the prettiest boy. Come here. The prettiest boy. The prettiest boy, Chad. He's a little chopped. The prettiest boy. He's a little chopped right now. I need to trim him up. The prettiest boy. Okay. You want to go down? You can go down. You're going to stay up. I know. You're going to stay up here, though. Because I don't want you barking at the neighbors. We're going to look at them doing really weird racism, I guess. Hi. Yes, I love you. Okay. Okay.
Enough at the box office and
Hi,
touted
Bellis.
other Golden Age stars like Susan Hayward, but it was ripped apart by the reviews.
Gee,
The
don't say.
Conqueror is now widely considered one of the worst films of the 1950s and one of the worst films ever made. But was appearing in the film actually John Wayne's second big mistake? The Conqueror was partially shot in Utah.
Hermes is the
Deserts
baby.
there flaunted gorgeous cliffs and vistas deemed acceptable stand-ins for the Himalayan steppe Genghis Khan once roamed. Specifically, outdoor scenes took place in the Escalante Desert near St. George, Utah, 220 kilometers downwind of the United States government's Nevada test site. Between 1951 and 1953, 31 nuclear warheads were detonated here in various configurations.
Damn.
Most were in the air, some were underground, and one,
Insane.
the Grable shot, was via artillery. The city of St. George was the populated area that received the most significant dusting of nuclear fallout from these explosions, and in 1954, it was also a movie set.
Here to bring joy,
The
energy,
filmmakers
and
knew
mainstream
about the town's
entertainment.
troubling
Yep.
distinction before they got there. Wayne would even take his sons out with a Geiger counter for surveys, but they were assured that the location was very safe to shoot in.
Sorry?
For
Excuse
6
me?
weeks, horses kicked up dust, actors tussled in the sand.
Ah.
After location shooting was completed, one of the producers would have 120,000 kilograms of that same Utah earth shipped to sound stages in California for reshoots.
Oh my god. Oh god. I need a movie, chat. Actually, I need a movie on the making of the movie. I need a I need a drama. Who do we call? Who do we pitch this to? Who do we pitch this to? Talk about the hubris of Hollywood. That's how we pitch it, truly, the hubris of Hollywood.
The Conqueror premiered in Los Angeles on February 22nd, 1956. Posters boasted about
Under his heel, cowering nations, in his arm, an untamed woman. Spectacular as its barbaric passions and savage conquest. 2 years in the making at a cost of $6 million. God. CinemaScope in Technicolor. If there's something about it.
its budget
No,
and
you're
how
fine.
long the film took to make. John McCartan of The New Yorker called the film pure Hollywood moonshine. You never saw so many horses fall down in your life. Still, their tumbling is far superior to the antics of the actors.
Oh.
The film earned $4.5 million and was the 11th most successful film at the North American box office in 1956. Being a bad movie should have been all you needed to know about the Conqueror's legacy. But 7 years after it premiered, director Dick Powell died of cancer. Supporting actor Pedro Armendariz was diagnosed with kidney cancer in 1960 and killed himself in June 1963.
Jeez.
Then Agnes Moorehead died in 1974. Then co-star Susan Hayward in 1975. John Wayne died of stomach cancer in 1979.
I'm sure there's 20 minutes left in this video, so I'm sure he's going to get to it. But could this just be, again, lack of innovation in cancer research and treatment at the time? You know?
1 year later, in 1980, a Bombshell magazine article would call into question the circumstances of these deaths, simultaneously immortalizing a movie that would have
Atom
been
bomb
forgotten
tests give him and other stars cancer.
and galvanizing a special community.
God, People Weekly, really at the scene of the crime, always. They were also all heavy smokers. We was shot. Observers noted that high rate of cancer among people involved in the filming. 91 of 220 crew developed the illness, and 46. Holy shit. See, that's a more convincing number, in my opinion, than, say, potentially the, like, oh, all the main casts died in the span of 10 years, like 10 years after the movie came out.
Of people to unprecedented legal action.
I don't know the cause of like smoking compared to other types
What
of cancer.
is
Yeah.
nuclear
It depends.
fallout? Popular culture seems pretty confused on this point. Is it some sort of toxic cloud floating through the air? Is it some unexploded hunk of plutonium in a crater somewhere? When a nuclear bomb...
As you pick up a random rock, Kyle, I know you know it's not plutonium, but that visual, is it an unexploded hunk of plutonium as you are picking up a rock? The stress for a moment. I know it's not that, but still. Want to do a documentary during shutdown, but it's only been discussed. Gotcha.
...goes off, there are so-called fission products produced. Atoms left over after large unstable nuclei are split to release energy. Bombs aren't 100% efficient, so there are also unfissioned atoms left over. Both are radioactive. And then there's the material from the bomb itself, casing, metal, all vaporized by the fireball. All of this will condense, cool, and combine with any nearby atoms. If a nuclear bomb goes off in the air, it might cool, combine, and condense into the sort of blackened rain that fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. If a bomb explodes near the ground, large amounts of Earth are atomized, contaminated, and thrust skyward. Nuclear fallout is the contaminated soot, ash, dust, and Earth after a nuclear explosion. Depending on the half-lives of the atoms involved, it can go on to contaminate a large area for a very long time. For example, the nuclear testing that happened here in the 1950s is still detectable worldwide in the atmosphere to this day.
From the 1950s through the 1970s, a new classification emerged among the communities in Nevada, Washington, Idaho, New Mexico, and Arizona adjacent to nuclear testing: downwinders. The term itself is radioactive, so to speak. Downwinder implies that being downwind of nuclear testing and the subsequent fallout affected you and your livelihood personally through no fault of your own. Nevada test site workers, farmers, and ordinary men and women in the shadow of mushroom clouds would come together in these decades as downwinders to bring government attention to what they considered fallout-induced damages. Many would claim, and continue to claim to this day, that their general ailments, cancers, and loss of livestock were caused by particularly dirty atomic bombs. It was the downwinders who gave the Harry shot of Operation Upshot Knothole on May 19th, 1953,
Upshot
a new
Knothole.
nickname, Dirty Harry, after a fallout cloud drifted over St. George and a public health service monitor told everyone in town to take cover.
Jesus.
For decades, the downwinders were ready to be listened to, and after a widely circulated report in 1977 and a study in the New England Journal of Medicine in 1979, they felt that someone had finally heard them. The article, Childhood Leukemias Associated with Fallout from Nuclear Testing, found that there was no correlation between cancers and fallout exposure in Utah counties during and after atomic testing, with the exception of childhood leukemia. There was an observed 2.44 times increase in mortality among those studied, despite the fact that the lead author of the study, Dr. Joseph Lyon, said that we can't from this study say that fallout causes cancer, despite the fact that this increase brought leukemia rates in Utah in line with the national average. The apparent recognition of decades of downwinder suffering was now impossible to dismiss, valid or not.
I'll say downwind got me bad.
3 months after the 1979 Utah fallout study shook the downwinders, John Wayne died from a protracted battle with throat, lung, and stomach cancers and shook the world. 2 months.
But as we mentioned, smoking. But...
Months after that, Peter Brennan, a reporter for the national tabloid The Star, connected the two events. He knew that the Conqueror had shot in Utah, exactly where the downwinder study had looked. He knew that the death of John Wayne was perfect tabloid fodder, and to make the story as titillating as possible,
Jet and 207 hijacked Cuba.
He suggested that the U.S. government, via atomic negligence, had an indirect hand in the Duke's death. Brennan's story instantly caught fire and was picked up in the New York Post, Los Angeles Times, and the Times in London. Of course, Brennan's theory was complete speculation, and he had no direct contact with any of the Conqueror's cast or crew. But, as is the sinister nature of misinformation, that didn't matter. Reporters for outlets across the country started reaching out to any downwinder willing to share their story. On October 1st of the same year, People magazine spoke with an elderly resident of St. George, Utah, who detailed her battle with the government and her plan to unite hundreds of other residents for a lawsuit.
I'm all for looking into this thing because possibly it could help a few people. Her brother Norman observes that a lawsuit by the relatives of movie stars could help draw attention to the plight of 15,000 residents of St. George.
Suit totaling $230 million. The People article would fan the flames further, citing the scientific study back in February and distorting it by claiming that, quote, St. George is plagued by an extraordinarily high rate of cancer. Everything came to a head on November 10th, 1980, when after 14 months of tracking down all the cast and crew of the Conqueror they could find, People magazine ran a bombshell article entitled, The Children of John Wayne, Susan Hayward, and Dick Powell Fear That Fallout Killed Their Parents. In it, the authors alleged some shocking statistics, backed up by convincing quotes. Of the Conqueror's 220 cast and crew members from...
Mostly associated with lung cancer, but still exposes your body to a lot of free radicals and other carcinogenic materials, so there is some correlation between a higher cancer risk, along with hypertension, arteriosclerosis, and other risks.
Hollywood, the article reads, an astonishing 91 have contracted
that's
cancer,
the data
People has ascertained.
But I think that's a... I feel like that's a pretty alarming quote, you know? I think that's a pretty alarming stat. When you put it in that context of everyone, forget, like, not even just the stars, everyone involved, that's a bit of a high number.
With these numbers, this case could qualify as an epidemic, Dr. Robert C. Pendleton, Director of Radiological Health at the University of Utah, told the magazine. In a group this size, you'd only expect some 30-some cancers to develop. With 91, I think the tie-in to their exposure on the set of The Conqueror would hold up even in a court of law. People's reporting would also prompt a now famous anonymous quote from the Pentagon. Please, God, don't let us have killed John Wayne. The 1980 People magazine article remains the single most cited source for claims that the Conqueror killed John Wayne and ultimately 45 other cast and crew members. It's one of the first things you find if you research the origin of the downwinders, and you will see the article's statistics in almost every...
Sorry, I heard something.
Single discussion of these 40 years of fear and loathing 65 miles north of Las Vegas. 220 cast and crew members.
Fear and loathing. Okay. Insane.
91
As if they
developed
were, yeah.
cancer during their lifetime. 46 died from it.
Jeez.
This represented 41 and 21% of the small population respectively, and this alarmed everyone.
That is a fairly...
But should it have?
That seems like a large
How do you
cancer
know if
pocket.
one thing causes another?
Thank you for following.
How do you really know that correlation does not mean causation? One thing that every good scientist has to do is eliminate confounding variables. Variables that, if you don't control for them, can make connections that don't exist. For example, it would not be hard to use data to find a real correlation between increased ice cream sales and shark attacks. It sounds crazy.
Why
but
not?
That's because there's a confounding variable here that we aren't controlling for, namely increases in outdoor temperature. Summertime sweets and swimming is actually influencing both ice cream sales and shark attacks, making it look like there's a connection where there isn't one. Thinking about confounding variables, consider this. John Wayne was a famously addicted smoker. He smoked up to 6 packs a day. He had a cigarette assistant on his film sets. He posed with cigarettes. He did
A cigarette assistant? Hold on. Pause. We gotta look that up. 1 second. One moment. Sorry, let me get something done real fast. Cigarette assistant. Hold on. Pause. Cigarette. Everything is just showing up how to quit smoking, chat. Cigarette assistant, John Wayne. I'm not getting anything legitimate. No, having a weed assistant's one thing. The shocking 7 packs a day. More people smoke Camels than any other cigarette. The roles I play in movies are far from easy on my voice, and I can't risk throat irritation, so I smoke Camels. They're mild. Gotta jump off, but thanks for streaming on YouTube, Swath. You're welcome. What would be interesting to see is if the cancer prevalence among those who were in Hollywood, worked in Hollywood at that time, to see if it was exposure, life stress thing, or if it was only this movie set. So kind of ongoing, man took samples and sent them out. It was a TikTok thing. How did the alien hoax turn out? Oh, we don't fully know. There's no update as of right this moment. So we shall see. I will check on it in a second.
Did ads for cigarettes.
I can't find anything
Wayne was awake
legit
for maybe
about
10
the,
hours a day, then he
cigarette
smoked
assistant.
an average of 1 cigarette every 5 minutes. It's entirely possible that some days he breathed in as much smoke as he did air. While it's difficult to pin a specific cancer to a specific cause, the best we
Wasn't
can
it like
do
a
is
thing
heavily
that a lot of
correlate
these
the
guys
two.
at the time were perma-sauced on booze instead of drinking water? Potentially.
Is the relationship between John Wayne's throat, lung, and stomach cancer a result of working on the Conqueror? Or is it heavy, heavy smoking that is a confounding variable? The 1980 People magazine article certainly did its diligence in contacting Conqueror cast members and sourcing expert quotes. What it did not do was correlate its claims with the science at the time. Of 220 cast and crew, People uncovered that 41% of them eventually got cancer and 21% of them died from it. According to the National Cancer Institute, for the year the article was published, for the age of the cast and crew at the time, the chances of being diagnosed with a cancer sometime in your lifetime was 41 to 43%, with a mortality rate of 21 to 23%. In other words, the cancer rate for the cast and crew of the Conqueror were very uninteresting. The rates are so close to the national average, in fact, that invoking radioactive fallout to explain them is misleading. Comparing John Wayne's 6 weeks in Utah to the lifetime of a downwinder is specious at best. Comparing his time on set to studies of A-bomb survivors in Hiroshima, as was done, is even worse. Complicating the supposed connection, Dr. Robert C. Pendleton, the director of radiological health at the University of Utah, who told People magazine that these actually uninteresting cancer rates were an epidemic and would hold up in a court of law, he had a painful personal connection to the whole affair. He believed that his wife had died as a direct result of atomic testing. It led to conspiratorial thinking. 1 year before the People magazine article was published, a student newspaper quoted him as saying, "At the federal level, I think the dangers of atomic testing was a cover-up, and with my experience, I think it was by design and not by oversight."
What?
It would be difficult to call Dr. Pendleton an impartial observer. These were the small problems with the cancer claims. Of the 91 cancers that People reported, none of the types were mentioned, which could help identify if radiation was to blame.
Yeah.
None of them had developed leukemia, for example, which has the strongest link to nuclear fallout. No medical records were obtained. Most everyone was nameless. It wasn't clear that all 220 cast and crew even came into contact with any radioactive material. The most recent nuclear test was over a year before anyone started filming. The official cast and crew list wasn't even 220 names. It was 108.
Oh.
And whatever the real number,
Where did everyone
these
else
people
go?
weren't a random sample that you'd want for a proper medical analysis. They were heavy smoking celebrities. 3 other movies shot in the exact same location from 1957 and 1979, and none of their casts or crews had abnormal rates of cancer. A local restaurant that catered the Conqueror in 1954 reported that none of its 55 staff members got cancer at all. None of this was surprising to another University of Utah scientist, Lynn Anspaugh, who later calculated that the Conqueror's cast and crew probably received no more than 1 to 4 millirems of radiation, about what you'd get sitting on a flight from New York to Los Angeles. Negligible. These radiation values
So
put
I've
the
gotten quite a bit of radiation, is what you've told me.
absolute risk of the cast or crew of the Conqueror developing fatal cancers solely from their time in St. George at around 1 in a million. A dose that would support this fallout-stricken narrative would have to be at least 100,000 times higher, and at that point, nothing would be in question, as St. George, Utah, and the surrounding areas would be nothing but a radiated wasteland. Before he died in 1976, one of the Conqueror's producers, none other than Howard Hughes, reportedly bought up every copy of the film for $12 million in an attempt to bury it forever. He allegedly watched it on repeat in his home. One can only suspect that it was shame that kept the
You travel a
eccentric
lot,
billionaire
though, yeah.
fighting for the movie's rights and copies. But Paramount reacquired the rights to the film 3 years after Hughes' death. And you can find it on Blu-ray today.
Ah. Everything ends up on Blu-ray, because of course it does.
Throughout the 70s and 80s, the downwinders and their representatives kept fighting. Witnesses alleged government cover-ups, claimants made hundreds of unsuccessful lawsuits, judge-ordered fallout damage payments from the government were overturned. Starting in 1986 and continuing for years, a total of 536 protests would be held at the Nevada test site. 37,000 people would demonstrate over nuclear weapons and weapons testing. Almost 16,000 of them would be arrested. After decades of unsuccessful lawsuits and pressure from politicians who answered to the downwinders in their states, on October 15, 1990, George H.W. Bush signed the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act into law. It offered a one-time benefit payment to, quote, persons who may have developed cancer or other specified disease after being exposed to radiation from atomic weapons testing. It's as close to an acknowledgement and an apology that the downwinders would ever get. Depending on where you worked, for how long, and what disease you developed, you'd be eligible for up to $100,000. You didn't have to prove nuclear fallout was involved, only that you lived in those areas at those times and had one of those diseases. To this day, the first thing that returns when you search for downwinders are lawyers looking to get you compensated. As of 2018, the RECA has paid out over $2 billion across 34,000 claims. None of this, however, not the Compensation Act nor the successful payouts, actually proves anyone was ever harmed by fallout from atomic testing, as extensive as it may have been. To the downwinders, questioning what they truly believe is a real cause for what ails them will sound like heresy, much like it does to those claiming, incorrectly, that they were harmed during the 3 Mile Island nuclear disaster. But put aside any emotional response or political acquiescence, and it seems scientifically valid to question whether or not downwinders exist as a unique population of harmed peoples. Could it instead be that atomic testing is a more satisfying explanation, less random, than the sad, random fact that half of us who grow old will get cancer? In the 1980s, when panic over atomic testing and its effects were at their peak, many studies were done to try and reconcile what downwinders were claiming with actual data. Dr. Joseph Lyon, who published that 1979 study that People magazine used to signal an epidemic of cancers, did a follow-up study. Small or non-significant links. No epidemic.
Damn.
Dr. Glenn Caldwell of the CDC didn't find a connection either. U.S. Department of Energy medical researchers Harold L. Beck and Philip W. Cray found that the higher incidence of childhood leukemia in Utah could not be linked to fallout from the Nevada test site. Instead, they found that there was more traces of fallout from nuclear testing in Russia than there was from the bombs that supposedly contaminated the Conqueror set. Today, the scientific consensus is that there is no conclusive link between the fallout from atomic testing and cancer rates in the surrounding areas. As Dr. Daniel Miles says in his book, The Phantom Fallout-Induced Cancer Epidemic,
Downwinders deluded and waiting to die is crazy. I will be reading that. God, sometimes you know when you're just like frustrated and you want to just write like a bitchy title to something.
epidemic in southwestern Utah,
That's actually
downwinders
crazy.
deluded and waiting to die. Quote, no one questions the existence of human tragedies in Utah or anywhere else. A family that has a child with leukemia has suffered real tragedy, whatever caused it. End quote. There is no doubt that downwinders experienced real pain, but real pain misdirected. It makes perfect sense to a non-expert that getting cancer after you're in the shadow of a very real mushroom cloud means that the two are linked. Doctors deal with people every day who believe vaccines harm their child because an illness unfortunately happened at the same time as a shot. But we do science exactly because this confirmation bias is so persuasive. The reality is that Utah has the lowest cancer mortality rate in the United States. And the downwinders, directly in the path of atomic testing, they have one of the lowest.
That's actually crazy stat. Okay, cancer mortality by state, age-adjusted death rates. God. It's actually really depressing when you look at it. Actually.
Cancer mortality rates in the state with the
graph.
lowest cancer mortality rate.
It is extremely unlikely that atomic testing from the 1950s onwards here killed John Wayne. It is similarly unlikely that so-called downwinders have suffered and are suffering in some sort of nuclear wasteland. This isn't that. Nuclear fallout here is very real, just not really harmful. Even John Wayne's family were skeptical at the time of these tabloid claims, and reportedly, right before John Wayne's death, he said that, quote, "The Conqueror was the worst film I ever made, and it was a huge success." Until next time.
It's the worst film I ever made, and it was a huge success. God. Oh, God. Okay, let's see. Hang on. Let's see. Do you want to see what happens if you put your head in a particle accelerator, chat? You guys want to see what happens if you... So as they got radiated. Oh god, sure. Okay. Chat, I have no idea how graphic these images will get. I will try and pause it or change it off if there's something happens. Okay. This is also by Kyle. This is the last Kyle video we will watch.
On the day of the accident, the only things standing between Anatoly Burgoski's brain and a beam of protons traveling close to the speed of light were a lock and a light bulb.
You have okay, it is graphic. Okay. Fuck. We can't watch this one, chat. Okay. Sorry. Hang on. Yeah, that was grim. Gotcha. Thank you, LOL. They show the hand in different stages prior to amputation. Yeah, we're gonna pass that one. This is the head, not your hand. This is the head one. I've seen the hand one. This is the head. Armpan says the same thing with the Twilight movies, but they were ultra successful, yeah. You're staying up here, Bubbas. You're in doggy jail. All right, let's go to top 5 unknown. The strangest Chernobyl mysteries they tried to bury. Potentially pseudoscience. Who knows?
The Chernobyl nuclear power plant disaster is the most famous nuclear accident in human history. The disaster took place in the early hours of April 26, 1986, in northern Ukraine. What should have been a routine test went horrifically wrong, leading to 2 blasts which sent radioactive matter across much of Europe. Dozens of people lost their lives in the immediate aftermath of the disaster, but the true number of people affected remains a mystery. Since 1986, the disaster has been analyzed by scientists from around the world, but there's always been a level of secrecy surrounding the event, which happened behind the Iron Curtain. Even today, some aspects of the catastrophe remain mysterious or shrouded by conspiracy theories. Number 10. In the days after the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, a group of Soviet Tu-16 aircraft flew over areas north of the
So Jammed Bones, that's what's got us on this topic, because I started watching the Chernobyl series and then I was like, oh, how realistic is it? I then found out that a bunch of details were not super accurate, actually, so I stopped watching it. But that got me on a nuclear kick. Chat recommended Kyle, and now here we are. So, yeah.
destroyed power plant.
Stop it. You're in doggy
Their
jail.
mission was essential, but they were not there to help with the cleanup mission. For decades, the work of these pilots remained top secret,
Stop.
and the devastating consequences of
What's down there? Hold on, Dad. Let me deal with my son. What? Do you need? What? What? I let you go. We can go bark. You probably can go bark, huh? Can you not bark, maybe? Can you possibly not bark? Can you possibly settle down? barking, so we're gonna call it. I'm sure the producer's riding. Dog.
Operation Cyclone remained unknown, even to the people directly affected. The timing of the Chernobyl disaster couldn't have been worse for the Soviet authorities. During the Cold War, traditional May Day celebrations became a display of power. Military parades would take place in key places around the Union, including Ukraine's capital of Kiev and Moscow.
Oh no, he's not trying to get me
Moscow was of
stop annoying me.
particular
He wants to go bark
importance.
at the door.
Countless people would gather in Red Square, along with Soviet officials, to celebrate the day. Moscow is roughly 700 kilometers northeast of Chernobyl.
Sorry, I keep hearing things, Chad.
And should have been far out of the danger zone.
It's the alien from Panama. It's coming to get me.
The exclusion zone around the plant was only 30 kilometers,
The
but
United
increased
States is calling you,
radiation
Chad.
spread further than that.
Nope, thank you. It's a loan, officer. They're trying to get me to buy a loan for my credit card debt. The answer is go fuck yourself. Okay. It's actually growing in your walls and NASA is calling to collect a sample. That's it.
Yes.
That's an insane graphic, actually. Was this an official, like, was this a Chernobyl graphic that they used to illustrate the fallout? Was this real? Why am I blurry? Camera, focus on me, please. Thank you. This is an insane graphic.
At the time of the incident, wind and weather patterns sent most of the radioactive material to the northwest, away from Moscow.
It sounds like someone is digging, and I don't know if it's one of my neighbors or not because our walls are connected.
But shortly afterwards, the winds began to shift. High levels of radioactive material were now being blown towards Moscow, where millions of people would be gathered for the May Day celebrations. The government did not want to cancel these May Day celebrations. It was trying to downplay the seriousness of the disaster. Canceling the celebrations would make it obvious that something was very wrong, and the Soviet Union couldn't cope with it. Even in Ukraine, the Kiev celebrations went ahead as planned. But going ahead with the Moscow parades would put countless lives in danger, including the lives of top government officials.
That really is an insane image. And you're just like, yeah, it's pouring potentially radioactive particles into the air.
To make matters worse, a cold front was building in the area. When the clouds of fallout from Chernobyl reached this new weather front, rain clouds would develop. This could not happen. A plan was developed to use relatively new technology to stop the clouds in their tracks. Cloud seeding was not unheard of. It had first been theorized in the 1800s, and the methods had been worked out in the 1940s. Over the decades, it was developed and refined. By 1986, the main method of seeding rain clouds was through silver iodine and dry ice. This was dispersed in the air where clouds were wanted, cooling the water vapor in the air to allow clouds to form. The squadron of Tu-16 aircraft was sent to Belarus with charges of silver iodine. These were released over low population areas to the northeast of the plant, in the tracks of the radioactive material. People in the villages reported seeing the planes, flying with strange colored gas behind them. Shortly after, the rain clouds gathered. These released black rain onto the villagers and towns. The residents didn't know it at the time, but the entire area was being washed with radioactive water. Moscow had been saved, but it had cost the health of hundreds of thousands of Belarusians. They were not informed of what was happening, and there was no way of knowing the danger of the rain. The regions where the rain had fallen were as radioactive as parts of the Chernobyl exclusion zone. But people continued to live and farm in the area well into the 1990s. Scientists tried to warn people about what had happened, but they were ejected from the area.
That's gonna drive me insane, chat. Is it my chair?
Years later, some of the pilots who had flown in Operation Cyclone were given medals for their bravery. They spoke out about what had happened, revealing the truth, but official acknowledgement of what happened still has not come. The full extent of just how much damage was done remains a mystery. Number 9. Chernobyl wasn't only home to the nuclear power plant. Hidden in an underground bunker nearby was the Chernobyl Anti-Aircraft Battalion, designed to help protect the Soviet Union if the Cold War became hot. 70 men were stationed here, along with 30 weapons. The fate of these men became a secret that was never officially acknowledged.
Alien potatoes in your walls,
Lieutenant Colonel Viktor Chershnev.
Bubba's. Bubba's. Must we bark? Must we bark? Must we not have whimsy? Must we not learn? You're not even upset. You're like laying down as you're barking. Like, this is excessive. My dog is very weird. You guys, Hermes is literally like he's like sleeping, like laid down against the door and barking as he's laying down. Because he doesn't actually care. He's not actually upset. He just wants to make sure everyone knows he's displeased, truly. Demands his spotlight, truly.
Was the deputy commander and the chief engineer of the Kiev Air Defense Brigade, which was based at Chernobyl. The facility included the barracks where the company stayed, as well as the over-the-horizon early warning radar station, which was nicknamed the Woodpecker. Also housed at Chernobyl were missiles, 3 of which were tipped with nuclear warheads. After the meltdown at the power plant, items of all kinds were left behind in the exclusion zone. Photos from Chernobyl show rotting dolls, rusting medical equipment, and the rides of an amusement park that would never open. But even though the base was well within the exclusion zone, the valuable weapons stored there would not be left behind. It was a few days before any orders were sent to the military base. While the rest of the area was being evacuated, Chershnev and his men had to wait to see what was to be done. 3 days after the catastrophic events of April 26th, they were finally given orders. The weapon...
Hermes. Hermes. Stop it. You don't need to whine. Come here. Come here, Bubbas. No. One momento. Maybe he hears the noises too. Maybe. Come here, Bubs. Come here. What are you doing? Hi. Grandma? Come on. Come on, Bubba's. Come on. Come on. Come on. He's like, leave me alone, you absolute lunatic. Clearly. Hermes, Hermes, Hermes. Bubba's, can you settle down? I just need him to settle down. No. When I'm done with stream chat, I think I'm gonna make zucchini muffins. Chocolate zucchini muffins. More like chocolate chips. I don't actually have I don't have cocoa. So, but I have like pieces of chocolate that I can chop up and throw in there. Maybe chocolate, maybe, no, I don't have enough for chocolate. I don't have chocolate chips, so I can't do chocolate cookies. I could go to the store, but I don't want to go to the store tonight. I shall play it by ear, chat. We shall see. Anyways, okay, back to Chernobyl.
Were to be loaded onto military trucks and driven over 100 miles away to another military base in Boryspil. These trucks were not specifically designed to deal with the intense radiation that all the soldiers were experiencing, and there was nothing to stop the radioactive material coating them from being deposited along the roads between Chernobyl and Boryspil. Everyone on the mission knew that this was dangerous for their health, but they had little choice and went ahead anyway. The trucks barely reached 20 miles an hour along the journey, leaving plenty of time for unsuspecting civilians to be exposed to radiation. The convoy traveled through the heart of Kiev at night, as there was no other way to Boryspil by road. When the trucks arrived, the weapons were unloaded and left at the base, but the work wasn't finished. The new orders were to return and collect as much military equipment as possible. Multiple trips were made, with all the radioactive equipment being kept in facilities which weren't designed to house it. After this top-secret mission was complete, the soldiers attempted to scrub clean the trucks. This made little impact on the radioactivity, and likely only served to expose the soldiers to the dangerous conditions for longer.
You don't say.
It was 3 years before officials visited the Boryspil site to inspect the contaminated weapons. These were considered so valuable that 70 men had risked their lives to bring them out of the exclusion zone, and many more had been working alongside them for years. But the officials discovered that the weapons and equipment were still too radioactive to be used. Chernobyl was told to get rid of them. The trucks that had been part of this top-secret mission were driven back into the exclusion zone, where they were abandoned with other vehicles and machines that had been used in the cleanup. But in an interview decades after the disaster, Chernobyl pointed out that the mission hadn't saved any lives or been part of any cleanup activity.
Nope.
Most of the men who were part of the mission suffered from severe health problems due to the exposure.
It sounds like someone is taking like to like the wall. That's what it sounds like. There's nothing on this side, this wall over here, chat. I could be going crazy. There's always that too. There's always that. It could always be that the alien footage fucked with my brain. It could always be that. I was feeling less nuclear fear today. There we go. We had an alien fear. We were looking at possible aliens. It's either a really well done hoax or this bro found something.
And many wouldn't live long afterwards. When Chernobyl came forward with his story in 2019, the Russian government still didn't acknowledge that the mission ever took place. Number 8. The area of the Chernobyl exclusion zone has become known as a place where nature has reclaimed. But something is growing in the heart of the radioactive wasteland that scientists cannot explain. Ever since scientists started to experiment with nuclear technology, there have been theories about organisms that may thrive in radioactive environments. Extremophiles are found in the most unusual places on the planet. Normally, these come in the form of bacteria that thrive in places like the mouth of underwater volcanoes, where the mix of chemicals is too much for any other life to survive.
Sick.
There are organisms adapted to extreme heat or cold and to high levels of salinity. Scientists speculated that something could possibly adapt to high levels of radiation, even if it seemed like this environment was extremely hazardous to all known forms of life. It wasn't until the aftermath of the Chernobyl meltdown that scientists got the first indication that these radioactive extremophiles existed. While exploring the insides of what remains of reactor number 4, scientists found a strange type of black fungi growing on the walls. Black fungi were found in and around the nuclear power plant. Some were collected, and since then, many experiments have taken place. At first, it was thought the fungi were just making use of what was available. The organisms had found themselves in this highly radioactive environment and had to adapt to survive. It was thought that if the fungi were placed in a more typical environment, they would grow like normal. But this wasn't the case. The fungi hadn't just adapted to grow in this extreme environment, but depended on this radioactive environment to survive. These were radiotrophic fungi. The organisms would grow towards radioactive sources in a similar way to how plants grow towards light. What's more, they...
I'm sorry, this looks, I'm an adult, you know? There's a shape to this fungi, okay? I've never heard fungi pronounced fungi either. That's a funny looking mushroom. But
seemed to use radioactive material to grow. Scientists had speculated about a process called radiosynthesis for decades, but now it seemed to have been proven true. These fungi could use radioactive energy for metabolism, which explains why they needed radioactive material to survive. The precise process for this remains a mystery. Scientists know that melanin plays an important role in the process, though. Melanin is known for protecting organisms from UV radiation. These radiotropic fungi have extremely high levels of melanin, but the molecules don't just protect the fungi from the dangerous radiation. It seems as if the molecules are used in some way to transfer that radiation into chemical energy that the fungi can then use to grow. One theory is that the process is similar to photosynthesis. In that reaction, chlorophyll helps plants to convert light into chemical energy. Theoretically, something similar could happen with melanin and radiation, but the process could also be more complicated, with several separate stages. Research into these strange and mysterious fungi is ongoing, but scientists have already suggested many applications for these organisms. Number 7. The Russian woodpecker is an installation that was shrouded in mystery and conspiracy theories long before the Chernobyl nuclear disaster.
I want to climb it.
After the incident, it would become one entwined in another conspiracy theory. This one suggesting that the entire meltdown had all been a cover-up by Soviet government officials. The Russian woodpecker is a nickname given to an early warning radar system located at Chernobyl. It was created in the mid-1970s and had the official name of Duga, meaning arc, and was designed to detect missile launches from the United States or its allies. The array of receivers was 700 meters long and 150 meters tall, but sat in the shadow of the nuclear power plant. In the West, the first anybody heard of this system was a strange tapping sound that interfered with radio broadcasts. This earned the system the nickname the Russian woodpecker. Radio enthusiasts were able to triangulate its location to Chernobyl, but there was no information about what the woodpecker actually was. This quickly gave rise to conspiracy theories. The knocking sound was supposed to be some kind of mind control, either to change the public opinion about the Soviets or to turn them into mindless zombies. In reality, the system was supposed to be nothing more than a warning device. It was not successful, though. Even amateur radio
Look how tall that is. Whoa, that's actually creepy. From a different angle, it doesn't look that bad. From up there, though, that looks really weird. That looks crazy. You could not pay me enough to stand on that.
Enthusiasts could block the woodpecker, and it's likely that military radio operators had a more sophisticated way to interfere with the signals. As the Soviet government began to launch satellites into orbit, over-the-horizon radars like the woodpecker became obsolete. Even installations far from Chernobyl were put out of service, and the woodpecker became a thing of the past. But according to some conspiracy theorists, the purpose of the Russian woodpecker wasn't the only secret being told. The theory was championed by Ukrainian artist
I don't know is he standing on the masks? Those are the masks, right? Yeah, he's standing on the gas mask, chat. Hi. There's a lot happening here.
Fyodor Alexandrovich, who starred in a documentary called The Russian Woodpecker. He'd previously lived in the shadow of the nuclear power plant and was just 4 years old when the disaster happened. According to Alexandrovich and believers of the theory, Chernobyl was deliberately destroyed to hide the woodpecker's failure. Its creator knew that the woodpecker wasn't fit for purpose. There was an inspection due to take place in 1986, and it was impossible to hide this failure. To make sure this inspection didn't happen, they ordered the Chernobyl test to go ahead, knowing how dangerous it was. The theory doesn't go as far as to say he deliberately forced the meltdown, but he was aware that it was a likely possibility. After the disaster, there was no way for any inspection of the woodpecker to take place, and the secret of its failure could last a little longer. Of course, this was all just a conspiracy theory. The theory is something even the documentary makers didn't believe. There is some truth to it, though. government officials in Moscow did put people of other Soviet republics at risk to keep themselves safe, and this happened with Operation Cyclone. But the problem with this theory in particular is that the Chernobyl disaster highlighted the failing Soviet infrastructure far more than the failure of the woodpecker ever would. Number 6. In the forest surrounding the nuclear power plant is a graveyard of machines that were used to try to contain the radioactive contamination from the Chernobyl disaster. These include robots and vehicles, but also some more unusual artifacts. Hidden far off the beaten path is a giant crane claw, resting in the forest and serving as an unofficial monument to the dangerous work liquidators undertook.
So in Kyle Hill's video on the tourism of Chernobyl, he talked about how this is classified as one of the most radioactive artifacts still in, like, the actual, like, a physical piece, a physical thing that is so incredibly irradiated, okay? Because it was used to pick up, like, chunks of graphite and things like that. There is speculation that they were to lift it up to this day, there would probably still be hunks of radioactive material underneath it that it's sitting on top of. And yet, popular Instagram photos at the time were people sticking their heads in it and sitting in it. And that's one of those things where it's like the tourism of Chernobyl, I think, needs to be, when there's not an active invasion happening, you know, there needs to be a very clear, regulated governing body of the tourism in Chernobyl, because it seems like there's not much regulation, at least at the time when Kyle went there. And he was talking about how there's multiple different tour groups, it seems, and not all of them know of the proper, how to educate on the proper risks of radiation and things like that.
The Chernobyl disaster started with a steam
That's
blast that
valid.
caused extensive damage to Reactor 4's building. The roof of the building was torn open, and material from the reactor was pushed out. Graphite rods are used in nuclear reactors to control the reaction speed and absorb a lot of radioactivity. After the eruption, the rods from reactor
He was talking about how there were people that were not wearing not gauges, but they were like wearing shorts. They were drinking and eating outside of the cafeteria, which you shouldn't do because you could obviously inhale particles and things like that. Like, there's just proper basic safety so that you don't accidentally irradiate yourself in any capacity that people weren't doing. And that's one of those things where it's like it needs to be more regulated.
4 were left scattered on what remained of the roof and on the roofs of surrounding buildings. These were some of the most radioactive places on the planet in the immediate aftermath.
It's insane, truly.
Cleaning up the roofs were essential, but extremely dangerous to liquidators. In an effort to try to minimize the danger, a crane was used to push the rods and most of the radioactive material back into the reactor building so that it could be sealed shut. The claw was used for this purpose. With every scoop of debris, the claw became more and more contaminated. By the end of its use, it was almost as radioactive as the material it had been cleaning up. Considering just how radioactive it was, the claw couldn't be buried. This risked contaminating the soil and water even more.
Yeah.
So workers took the claw to an extremely remote part of the forest and left it there.
Insane.
This radioactive machine went relatively...
They call them stalkers, Chernobyl stalkers, which is basically people that illegally enter Chernobyl. Some do it to graffiti the place, cause havoc, things like that. Others do it to preserve Chernobyl, or at least they were. So, like, there have been people that have come in and painted the crane neon pink, and then they've come back and they've painted it its original color, which was a kind of like light blue teal color. At least at the time. Thank you for following. At least at the time of Kyle going, it had been repainted by the stalkers back to its potentially true color of initial color. So it at the time in 2021 did not look like this. Obviously now we are a few years out. Chernobyl currently has, I believe, still has a hole in the sarcophagus because the Russians hit it with guns or some shit. I don't know. There's a hole in the sarcophagus. I believe it's still fairly contained, but yeah, I believe it's still currently being occupied by the Russians currently.
relatively unnoticed for decades. But in 2019, an Australian archaeologist drew attention to this strange relic. Rob Maxwell was conducting research in the forest and on a private tour when he was taken to the claw. He was amazed to discover that it wasn't roped off and there was nothing physically stopping anybody from going to visit it. When he used a Geiger counter to assess the danger, he discovered that the radioactivity was hundreds of times higher than normal levels. At the time, news reports on the claw suggested that just touching this machine could cost someone their life. Since then, the claw has become part of some tours in the Chernobyl region. Visiting it isn't quite as dangerous as the initial news stories would suggest.
I would not ignore dogs or cats as they approach. You can apparently pet the dogs. There is apparently no risk of radiation poisoning from an animal. You can pet the dogs, is my understanding. Yeah, apparently, I believe in Kyle's video, because Kyle does a lot of videos on the Chernobyl dogs. He, they literally have groups that go in and like spade, neuter them, do various surgeries via charity to prevent inbreeding, because that is a worse risk to the health of the dogs than the radiation that they've been exposed to. So those dogs are apparently fine to be pet. Obviously, basically my understanding is you operate the same way you would if you pet like any dog that lives out in the wilderness around the streets, and you just wash your hands well, is my understanding. Yeah, you have to like wash your hands after. Yeah, you basically just operate as if you pet a dog that lives on the street. You just gotta clean yourself afterwards. There's a couple of them around the world that have been adopted. I feel so much better for them. Broke my heart to think of all these people and no one would pet them. No, they are definitely getting pet. Imagine the flex to be a 5th generation Chernobyl dog. Yes, you are apparently okay to pet them. I don't know how many cats are still around. I believe the cats are a little more rare currently. But yeah, no, the dogs are doing pretty well. They're fairly well cared for, is my understanding.
It would take over a day of prolonged contact to do any lasting damage. More recent photos of the claw show tourists sitting inside of it, and it's been spray painted at some point. But even if it isn't quite as dangerous as was initially believed, the claw is still a reminder of the extreme dangers that the liquidators faced, and the ongoing question.
But let's sit in it, you know, like God.
Of just what should be done about the contaminated machines that were left behind after the cleanup. Number 5. There are many conspiracy theories that concern the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. But one of the strangest suggests that it may not have been entirely a man-made disaster. Just 10 years after the meltdown, a scientist suggested that a much more natural cause may have been the trigger behind this horrifying incident. In a paper published in 1996, an article suggested that an earthquake was detected shortly before the meltdown. The paper suggested that the Chernobyl nuclear power plant didn't have the correct precautions in place to stop even a minor earthquake from affecting the plant. It was this quake that supposedly led to the catastrophe. Shortly after the paper was published, other scientists pointed out the factual errors in the work.
I also don't know what they're currently doing, Tatsu, because it's currently occupied. Like Kyle talked about the recent, not fair, I would say recent as in around 2022 time, there was a secret expedition that happened where vets went in under occupied Chernobyl to do as much work for the dogs as they could. So I really don't know what's happening currently. Take photos of both claws. Probably want to take photos of both claws. God. To have a new claw somewhere outside the zone. I think they're now trying. I wonder if it would help.
There were as many as 80 errors, and the seismograms were nothing more than hand-drawn illustrations. 3 seismometer stations had detected shaking on the night of the accident, but this corresponded to the accident itself.
Yeah, at the time they were, the people working Chernobyl did so in shifts. Under occupation, they weren't allowed to do their normal shifts. So who knows what the current setup is. Obviously, that was in 2022, is my understanding. I don't know what the current state is. We are now obviously into 2025. So, yeah.
A year later, another group of researchers returned to the earthquake theory. This time, the researchers went into more detail and determined that there may have been a small earthquake, roughly 10 to 15 kilometers away from the power plant, which occurred just seconds before the disaster. The scientists even claimed that witnesses at the plant.
So according to, let's see. Okay, so no, Russia no longer occupies Chernobyl. Okay. It is still not open to tourists because of the ongoing Russian invasion, but they do not currently occupy Chernobyl, allegedly. And apparently there are still lasting effects. And then the shot of them shooting it was, I feel, fairly recent. When did Russia hit Chernobyl? On 14th of February 2025, an unmanned aerial vehicle hit the new safe confinement structure at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine. That was this year. So, the weight of allegedly is heavy. Yeah. Allegedly. The attack resulted in significant damage to the protective shelter, but did not lead to an increased radiation levels in the surrounding area. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said that a Russian combat drone carrying a high explosive warhead had struck the structure. Russia denied the allegations, instead suggesting that Ukrainian officials made the claim to disrupt peace negotiations. So, I believe it was there's like a hole in. So basically, it's the so the sarcophagus is the internal dome, and then the dome is outside of it, the big metal one. That's the dome itself. The hole, my understanding, is in the dome, did not breach the sarcophagus. Okay. So there could be potential increased radiation at that zone, but not like pouring radiation out, is my understanding. Near Chernobyl et al., Russia. Guys, yeah. I thought they were starting to slowly dismantle the structure inside the dome. I don't think so. It's not looking like it. These are Ukrainian claims, by the way, just so we are clear. I am not making these claims. I will cover my ass, because times are weird. I've never heard of dismantle. I heard they want to put together another thing over the dome. Yeah, like replace the dome. At the very least, when Russia first invaded Chernobyl, my understanding is that the soldiers that they sent to invade had no idea they had found Chernobyl. They did not know where they were originally, which is concerning in a myriad of ways. So, as always covered, yes. But yeah, I'm team let's not shoot things at Chernobyl. That's my personal take, regardless of who did it. I don't, let's not do that. Let's avoid that. Thank you.
Had reported some shaking and suggested that the earthquake may have been strong enough to be felt. One key part of the disaster concerned control rods that were inserted into Reactor 4. When the reaction seemed to be growing out of control, these rods were inserted. The intention was to displace water to slow the reaction, but the tips of these rods were made of graphite, which increased the reaction. This wouldn't have been a problem if the rods were fully inserted, but for some reason, the rods were only partially inserted. The reaction increased, rapidly leading to the famous meltdown. Some proponents of the earthquake theory suggest that the minor shaking could have been responsible for the malfunction. Just shifting the mechanisms of the rods over a small distance could have caused things to not line up perfectly. In some ways, the earthquake theory still places the blame for the disaster on the design of the power plant. Something as delicate as a nuclear power plant should have been protected against seismic activity. but it still suggests that the disaster wouldn't have happened without this natural trigger. Number 4. Liquidators was the name given to the workers who risked their lives to try to contain the damage done by the Chernobyl disaster. This includes the firefighters and plant staff who were on site immediately after the incident, as well as those who arrived later to seal what remained of Reactor 4 away from the outside world. Many of these people suffered lifelong illnesses due to the radiation, with some passing away not long after the disaster. It quickly became obvious that the cleanup teams would need a way to access the
They were
contaminated.
trying to dismantle the original sarcophagus and reactor, but that was all stopped because 2022 happened. Gotcha. Dismantle the original sarcophagus and reactor 4. Okay, but leaving the dome intact is what you mean. Okay. Sorry, I misunderstood what you were saying, Arduk. I thought you were saying that like the Russians were allegedly trying to dismantle the sarcophagus, and I'm like, I don't think that would go well. If that was the plan, I don't like where that would go. I don't like the options of that. Didn't the guy who swam through the flooded reactor not only survive, but is still alive? So we talked about this a while ago. The 3 scuba divers that helped drain the pools that would potentially, they speculated could lead to an even worse explosion that would potentially irradiate Europe. No one really knows. There's a lot of debate on whether or not that would have actually been the case, but the 3 guys that did do that, I believe one passed away or got heart disease or something like 10 years later. The other 2 were still alive as of 2018, and they got medals of honor for their bravery in being involved from Ukraine. And that was the earliest update that I had heard from them was 2018. Most recent update, I should say.
Areas without physically going there themselves. Robots were the obvious answer. These machines could theoretically move rubble, test radiation levels, and record footage of the destroyed corridors and rooms of the reactor building. The Soviet Union had sent robots to the moon and probes to Venus, so it didn't seem like it would be too difficult for robots to navigate this more terrestrial danger. One of the first machines used in the cleanup effort was an adapted Soviet lunar rover, the STR-1. Others were robots that had been specifically designed for nuclear work and should have been able to withstand the radiation. But none of these had been tested in an environment like Chernobyl before. The high levels of radiation damaged components of the machines and made radio communications extremely difficult.
Yeah.
The rubble provided an additional challenge. Some robots may have been able to work on flat terrain, but they couldn't overcome the obstacle of fallen debris and rubble. Often, humans in lead-lined suits would have to rush in to free the robots when they became stuck. Not long after the accident, scientists at Kurchatov's Institute Complex expedition were tasked with trying to solve this problem. They played a key role in the exploration of Reactor 4 in the first 5 years after the disaster, and were often the first people to come across new problems in the unprecedented disaster. The first machine that scientists found that actually helped their research was not something high-tech that could work on the moon. According to scientist Alexander Borovoy, it was a small toy tank. Borovoy wrote about the toy in his book about the Chernobyl disaster, published decades after the disaster. It had been purchased for 14 rubles at a toy shop in Kiev. The machine had tracks, which helped it navigate over difficult terrain, and could be controlled by a remote control connected by a short wire. The book contained a photograph of the small machine, but it seemed to be too strange to be true. Research done by the Chernobyl Family YouTube channel showed that it had actually been a Toy Planet rover, created by a company that specializes in space and military systems. The small toy was supposed to look like something that could navigate extraterrestrial worlds. It was actually better at navigating the disaster site than the lunar rovers that would have inspired it. Scientists adapted the small toy to fit various measuring devices, and it was then sent into the unexplored areas of Unit 4. Not only was the tank able to do the job, but the machines could also be decontaminated fairly easily. This was another issue that held back other machines. For about a year, the small machine went on many reconnaissance missions into the mysterious out-of-reach areas of the plant. In the meantime, there was a race for more high-tech and specialized robots to be built in other parts of the Soviet Union. Some scientists to question that conclusion. It starts with a strange blue flash seen in the moments between the first and second blasts. Fishermen, located about 500 meters from the power plant, reported seeing a strange blue flash in the sky over the reactor after the first eruption. The second blast came just moments later. They had no idea what was going on, but would have known that it was something bad. What exactly caused this strange blue light is a mystery. Some have brushed off the light as something referred to as the Cherenkov radiation, but this wouldn't line up with the available information. Cherenkov radiation occurs when particles move faster than light. Nothing can move faster than the speed of light in a vacuum, but light can be slowed down in various other mediums, such as water. Not all particles are affected in the same way, which means that some can pass through water faster than light is able to. When this happens, the water appears to emit a blue light or glow. This can happen when a nuclear reaction happens in water, but this obviously wasn't what the fishermen saw on the night of the Chernobyl disaster. A more likely explanation is that the blue light was caused by the air being ionized. Atoms in the atmosphere were gaining or losing electrons. This releases a small amount of energy that causes the air to glow blue. The problem with this theory is that this shouldn't have occurred until after radioactive material was sent into the atmosphere. It should have happened after the second blast, rather than between the two. Scientists also pointed to other strange evidence. Radioactive particles were detected in Chernobyl 4 days after the accident. This is a region north of Moscow and should have been far out of the path that the radioactive material was taking. The particles could only have reached this region if they'd been sent much higher into the atmosphere. Based on this information and the damage at the reactor itself, scientists concluded that the fire blast at Chernobyl on April 26 of 1986 had actually been a thermoneutron-mediated nuclear blast. The steam eruption actually came second. This theory still hasn't been proven, and for now the official explanation of a steam blast followed by a hydrogen blast remains the accepted version of events. But that still leaves people questioning what exactly the blue flash scene actually was, and just how much of the story remains a mystery. Number 2. The actual number of people whose health was affected by the Chernobyl disaster still remains a mystery over 30 years later. But humans weren't the only things living in the region. Countless dogs, cats, and family pets were left behind in the exclusion zone when evacuations took place, as their owners believed that they'd only be away for a short period of time. An even greater number of
False. They were forced to leave their pets behind. They were like, let's be clear, people weren't willingly leaving their pets behind. They were not allowed to bring their pets. They were given an hour to pack they were given an hour's notice that they were being evacuated, and they were not allowed to bring their pets. Let's be very clear. They were told that it was only going to be 3 days, so people did believe that they were going to be able to come back, I believe. But there were people that did try and bring their pets, and they were not allowed because it's not something we've been able to recreate or had witnessed before. Yeah.
Cows, sheep, and other livestock were also affected. Ukraine was the Soviet Union's breadbasket.
Little did they know.
Food produced here would be shipped all over the USSR. In the mid-1980s...
Well, the reality is that the people that were making the you know, what was the exclusion zone, what was the restrictions, how long was the, like, what was the curfew, all these things, they didn't know. They weren't the people that knew, you know, they weren't necessarily the scientists and the like. So they were just like, yeah, we're following orders, you know, type of thing.
There wasn't a great deal of food stability in many parts of the Union, and much of the food they did have came from Ukraine. So the problem of what to do with contaminated produce became a crucial issue to solve. Unfortunately, it wasn't one that officials had an answer to. Hundreds of thousands of animals have been contaminated with the radioactive dust. If all that meat was destroyed, there would definitely be food shortages.
Yeah.
On top of the desire to keep people fed, it would make keeping the extent of the disaster a secret all the more difficult. But letting the meat be sold like normal also wasn't an option. Officials came up with a simple plan to solve the disturbing problem. All the livestock in the affected region would be sent to meat processing facilities. There, the radiation levels were tested, and the meat was graded as low, medium, or high. Meat with low or medium levels of radiation would be mixed with so-called clean meat and turned into sausages. These were then shipped around the USSR, but with strict warnings not to send any to Moscow or Leningrad. This itself was difficult. The processing facilities weren't ready for the huge amount of meat that was coming from the contaminated fields.
Yeah.
Teachers were rapidly trained to inspect the radiation levels, but this training was inadequate. The meat of different radiation levels was mixed up. The KGB had to be sent to the factories to ensure only high-quality meat was sent to Moscow and Leningrad. But an even bigger problem was what to do with the meat with high levels of radiation. A large portion of the produce fell into this category, and the destroying of the meat wasn't an option. The plan originally was to store this contaminated meat in freezers until the radiation levels had decreased. But the radioactive material is made up of atoms with long half-lives. The meat would remain radioactive for the foreseeable future.
Also insane AI.
Processing plants quickly ran out of freezer space. They
We were
appealed
so
to Moscow
excited that this was like a real human narrating this and not AI, and then they're relying on AI images.
for assistance, but received nothing. One plant in Belarus came up with a new way to get rid of the problem. 300 tons of radioactive meat was packed into refrigerated train cars and sent to Georgia. When it arrived, railway workers realized the danger and refused to accept the shipment. The radioactive meat train was sent from town to town across the western USSR, spreading radioactive dust in its wake. Nobody wanted the meat. Nobody had the facilities to store it properly. Eventually, it was sent to a small Ukrainian town just outside the exclusion zone.
That's fucked up.
Here, the carriages were abandoned. The refrigeration system stopped working, and nobody wanted to risk their lives to fix the issue. It wouldn't be until 1990 that KGB officers were finally sent to deal with the disturbing vehicle, which had spread radioactive dust across the western USSR. The carriages were taken into the exclusion zone, where they were buried, finally ending this disturbing Chernobyl story. Number 1. It's not surprising that the main source of employment for the people of Pripyat was the neighboring nuclear power plant. But after this, the Chernobyl Jupiter factory was the second largest source of employment. Before April 1986, roughly 3,500 people were employed at the factory, but just what they were doing there remains a mystery. The factory opened in 1980. Pripyat was home to many university-educated people, so the location was chosen to make use of this resource. Officially, it was part of the Mayak company. The Ukrainian company is still in operation today and specializes in making communication and sound equipment. Jupiter's focus was on making cassette recorders and other household appliances. Jupiter radio equipment was popular in the Soviet Union, and this factory was supposedly designed to help meet that demand. It's debated whether any cassette recorders ever actually left the facility. Security surrounding the factory was a lot for somewhere that made simple home appliances. Entrance and exit was only through a single checkpoint. Even though the facility was made up of several buildings, they were all connected. Workers wouldn't need to go outside to go from one area to another. The roof of the complex stretches for several acres, but most workers would be confined to one small part of the facility. It is unknown just how much the people of Pripyat knew about the factory on the outskirts of the city. But today it's known that the cassette factory was just a front for a more secretive operation. The main products of the Jupiter factory were for military purposes. But even decades after the factory closed its doors, what exactly was constructed here remains a mystery. The most common theory suggests it created semiconductors for military equipment. Some believe it made black boxes used in aircraft, or possibly even for rockets. Another theory suggested that the facility had closer ties to the nuclear power plant than it first seems. According to this theory, nuclear waste would be transported from the power plant to the factory, where it would be refined for the use in nuclear weapons. But this is unlikely. The factory wasn't nearly big enough for this kind of operation, and the Soviet Union preferred to build these kind of facilities in more remote locations, away from big cities like Pripyat and far away from its western border. Whatever was being made at Jupiter, everything changed on April 26, 1986. The factory is well within the exclusion zone and was evacuated with the rest of Pripyat after the nuclear disaster. But unlike the rest of the city, it wouldn't remain abandoned for long. In 1987, Work resumed at Jupiter. The focus of the complex had changed. Instead of tape recorders and whatever secret government work the factory had been producing, it instead worked on robots, which were used in the cleanup effort. The fact that the building was already highly contaminated by radiation meant it was better for testing the robots than other factories. It wouldn't be abandoned for good until 1996. Even on official tours, access to the Jupiter factory is restricted, but that hasn't stopped some people from trying to explore this mysterious site. And what they found has puzzled outsiders. The basement of the factory is a flooded laboratory, still filled with chemicals that were being used for some kind of experiment.
Yikes.
Most mysterious are bags of gray or black powder. These are far more radioactive than the surrounding areas, with levels closer to those found inside the power plant itself.
Yikes.
Mass spectrometers have revealed that they contained elements found inside the reactor, including plutonium, caesium-131, and strontium-90. Located nearby are bags of soil, labeled as different regions of the exclusion zone. What exactly these bags of powder are is a mystery. Some believe that these were used in an experiment to test methods of cleaning up radioactive material. Others believe it may be evidence of something much more sinister. It's unlikely we will ever get the truth behind this strange secret. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video,
Let's see. I think we're gonna wrap it up, chat. We're gonna wrap it up. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, I need to walk Goblin, and I need to make some zucchini muffins. God, do I go to the grocery store and get chocolate chips? I should probably get chocolate chips. I might go to the store. Yeah, I might go to the store. Okay, anyways, let me see who I can raid, chat. Hold on for Twitch. YouTube, you guys just get to deal with me being quiet for a second, and then I'll raid out. Back to Twitch. Scootish. Oh, was he ending the stream? Never mind. We're raiding Mer because Scootish is hanging up. You guys are gonna raid Mer. Okay. Bye with the holiday season. A second movie plot. Ha 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 ha. Have fun. Bye. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Be nice to Mer. YouTube chats. You guys get to wait a second. Alrighty. Chill out, YouTube chatters. I will be with you in 2 seconds. Bye. All right, YouTube chatters, you are stuck with me. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Still getting used to this format. But thank you for hanging out, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.